You don't need to be stiff, Sol. I mean, you can be stiff in another way if you like. Hello! And welcome back to day 2 of the rewritten version of The Kitt at the Back. This is a Yandere dating sim in which a strange man has been watching you for quite some time. We already did the rewritten day 1, which had a lot of new scenes added, so I'm very keen to see what else has been put into day 2. Let's get started. Day 2. The Kingdom. The sun setting by the horizon colors the grassy sky into a deep golden orange as the wind made some strands of hair brush across your face. Your ever-beloved home. The tall grass, the fresh air, the various farm animals that you and your family raised since you were but a mere child. You can't even begin to imagine what was happening before you right now, as a group of people came by while they talked to your father. Your only family member left. You see the distress in your father's eyes as he tries his best to negotiate with the people before him. The desperation in his voice. The sweat running down his neck as he moves around his hand gesturing this and that. Please, just give me more time. I promise I can pay up. This is all we have left. I don't know where else to go if we lose this farmland. We've given you enough chances already, Mr. Winters. If you don't pay up your debt, we'll take your land. The loud ringing of the school bell rang across the hallway, making you jerk out of your thoughts. Students came out of their classroom doors. You feel someone shaking you awake. You sat up and met face to face with Crow. Hi, Crow. I promise I'm not gonna get you killed this time. Well, good morning, Sleeping Beauty. You let out a yawn. You rubbed your eyes as you looked around. Your fellow classmates are now gone from their seats as it is now lunchtime. What did I miss? Nothing important. Though if you're having doubts, I can lend you my notes afterwards. Thanks, Crow. You're a lifesaver. Crow, you always spoil me. Anything for you need. Stop it. You recall the little dream that you had. You quickly shake it off as you let out a stretch, popping a few joints before you got up and went out of your classroom with Crow in tow. You meet up with your group of friends. Seeing Daryl with Gio and Crow waiting by the lockers, Brittany coming along behind them, and Jess. You wave at them. Oh, I should move myself. I am in the way. Oh, good evening to you all. Regards, Sarah. How was class? Boring and boring. I'm so glad to be out of here. One more useless minor and I'll be out of here. Gio just shrugged, hand in his hoodie pocket. A hand in his hoodie pocket while the other on his phone. We got to at least do something in our major today though, which I'm glad about. More papers, but at least it was something. Enough about papers, so about the Halloween party. Any ideas for a costume yet? As they talk to each other, in the corner of your eye, you notice a familiar figure. It was Sol. He came out of the classroom and another person came afterwards behind him, seemingly bored out of his mind. Call Sol over. Yeah, let's do that. Not sparing the group a moment, you made your way to where Sol is. Sol almost instantly notices you by the visible smile making its way to his face. His companion notices change in attitude and turns his attention to where you are. Hi there, you friends with Sunny? Sunny. He pats Sol and look at Sol blush. He pats Sol at the back, causing the taller male to jerk slightly forward. Sol gives him an irritated look, observing the way- Hey, whoa! What's wrong? Why are you scratching me? My cat is like in front of me. See, look at her little head. She like put a paw on me. He pats Sol at the back, causing the taller male to slightly jerk forward. Sol gives him an irritated look, observing the way his face slowly turns red. You know, because he's such a sunshine. He's sunny. You let out a small giggle, shifting your eyes towards Sol as he catches your gaze on his. Careful. Upon landing eye contact, Sol quickly averts his gaze from yours, holding up his hand as he tries his hardest to hide his face away. Yes, Sunny loves the nickname I gave him. Right, Sunny. Sol remains silent, still refusing to meet your gaze. That's adorable. For a moment, the three of you are silent before the shorter male speaks up once more. You should have taste, Sunny. She's very pretty, like you said. A blush makes its way to your face. Scratching at the back of your head, you bit your bottom lip as you let out a small thank you. Anyway, nice to meet you. My name's Hyugo. I'm this big old grumpy's best friend. Yinny, a pleasure to meet you too. He extends his hand for you to take, in which you merely accept, shaking it as he puts it back to his side. Smile on his face as he does so. Then you hear a group of footsteps behind you. Hugo first noticed the group behind you as he raised his head to meet one of their gazes. There you are, Yinny. You just ran off like that. I got kinda worried. You with these people, Yinny? Oh, that's right. Sorry for running off like that. Yeah. Sol? Hugo? These are my friends. Uh-oh, Sol's not happy. You turn your body to face Crow and the others while your gaze is still fixed on the duo. Crow gives the two a smile and a small wave. Daryl came up first, extending his hand for one of the two to take. Nice to meet ya, I'm Daryl, and if you haven't heard yet, I'm the ace of our school's football club. He said with a smile. Hugo took his hand with a shake. Following up is Brittany, as she just stares with a hand on her hip while Jess was twiddling her fingers as she stuck close to Brittany's side. Hey, how's it going? Hello. Between Brittany, Jess, and Daryl, it seemed that only the tall jock is the most enthusiastic out of all of them in this newfound friendship. I'm Hugo. I'm Hyugo. I've heard about you, Daryl. Nice to meet you. Thankfully, Hyugo returned the same energy as the jock. I'm Jericho, but people call me Crow. Nice to make your acquaintance. Crow also handed out his hand for Sol to shake. However, Sol did not take it. There was a slight awkwardness in the air between the two males, making Crow slowly retrace his hand back. No way! The atmosphere between the two, however, was cut short when Hyugo gave out a loud gasp and marched towards Gio, who was way behind the group, a visible scowl on his face. Gio's eyes darkened as he tried to step back, but Hyugo was quick on his feet as he engulfed the taller male into a hug. Subaru, hisashiburi, mendokusai. I didn't want to see your ugly face the entire day. No, the entire semester. But my luck seems to be slipping. Hey now, that's not a nice way to greet your brother. Another loud gasp was heard. This time it came from Daryl. He points at Gio, quite a bit dramatically. You have a brother, Gio. Oh great, another one. That's big brother to you? Everyone's attention was now on the three of them. Brittany, seemingly amused by Gio's newfound dilemma. Crow just chuckled while Jess was surprised as well. Oh right, Hugo startled, finally letting go of Gio. The said male cursing under his breath as he composed himself and fixed his now ruffled hair as he walked towards you. We were actually going up to the rooftop for lunch today. We were hoping that you'd like to come with us, he says, now standing beside Sol. Sol looks at you in anticipation. You? Join Sol and Hyugo. Alright, I'm gonna join them this time. I mean, sure. Oh, but I need to tell the others first if that's okay. Sure thing. Take your time. Thanking and excusing yourself from the duo, you turn to the group, specifically the Crow. Nervousness suddenly engulfs you as you tap the blue-eyed male on the shoulder. Crow tilted his head and turned his full attention to you. Is it alright if I go with them for today? I'm fine with it, Yinny. Oh, he paused as if suddenly remembering something, but you have to ask Brittany for that as well. Upon hearing her name, Brittany turns her head towards you. You notice a basket around one of her arms. Brittany, however, didn't give you a chance to ask. You can go ahead, Yinny. You can join us whenever you want to. She is so nice. I really like her. She gives you a smile, surprising you a bit. Without further ado, you excuse yourself from the group before going to Sol and Hyugo. Hyugo gives you a smile and you turn to Sol. He gives you a smile of his own, his shoulders relaxed, as if relieved. Let's go then. Hyugo walks over to his usual spot and gets himself seated on a bench that you somehow never took notice of before. Sol follows along and in his hands is a large wrapped box that catches your interest. Sit beside Sol. Sol notices you from the corner of his eye, the edges of his lips moving upwards. You pointed to the box nestled in Sol's hand. Is that your lunch, Sol? You can say that. As Sol unwraps the cloth, showing you 3 bento boxes, he takes out one of the first bento box that was settled on top before giving the second one to Hyugo. Hyugo happily accepts the box, thanking Sol before taking out his chopsticks. Opening the container, Hyugo lets out an awe sound, his eyes sparkling, drool slowly seeping out at the corner of his mouth. You actually listened! And did you cut these tiny sausages into octopuses? Keep your voice down, it's ringing in my ear. Wait, I need to take a picture of it. Placing the box gently on his lap, Hyugo rummages through his pockets before taking out his phone. Opening his phone's camera, he flips it horizontally then starts clicking away, taking 1 or 2 photos. Hyugo lifts the container back into his hands, but not before turning to you and showing what he keeps gushing about. Oh wow! Oh, it's so cute! Isn't it adorable, Yinny? There you see various ranges of food with rice shaped to match a moth, seaweed to design the face, along with using a cabbage leaf to form its wings. Right below the moth are mini sausages shaped like octopus. Wonderfully cut carrots are made to look like stars, and squeezed beside stuffed shiitake mushrooms. The egg roll sushi and broccoli with melted cheese as a dip look delicious. I almost feel too bad to eat it, especially on how cute this little guy is. Hyugo points at the silk moth-shaped rice. Itadakimasu. Without wasting another second, Hyugo starts digging in, scruffing down on the rice like a wild, hungry animal. Did you make this by yourself, Sol? You can say that. Sol answers, opening his own container. You thought you'd see another form of food art made by Sol himself within the container, but instead, you were greeted by a simple ham and cheese sandwich. He takes out a slice, and before he could take a bite, he turns to you. Have you eaten, Yinny? No, I haven't actually. Sol's eyes went wide and Hyugo gave you a shocked look. Before you knew it, Sol takes out another box and settles it on your lap. You can have this. It's an extra. Why do you have an extra? I didn't like how this looked, but I figured I could let Hyugo finish it. It's a waste of ingredients. You don't have to, Sol, really. No, I insist. What's this at now? 5 with Crow and 4 with Sol. I like how Sol is just staring at Crow with contempt. Look at him. Oh, for heck's sake, just eat the same box. Hyugo, who clearly had enough of the back and forth banter, suggests the idea before returning to his own box. Sol hesitates, but he eventually takes out a spoon and fork, handing them to you. I'm gonna tease him. You decline his offer of the utensils and he raises a brow in confusion. You don't want the fork? Or do you prefer the spoon? I have chopsticks if you want. No, nothing of the sort. Then what is it? I want you to feed me. Sol's breath hitched and his face went bright red at your wild suggestion. Look at him blush. He's so cute. Hyugo, look at Hyugo. He's like, I'm so sick of this shit. Hyugo gives you both a side eye, Your proclamation was enough for him to actually stop eating, shooting you both a judgmental look as if saying, "Really? Right in front of my bento box?" He scoots a bit away from the two of you, not wanting to be a part of your little fiasco as he returns to his meal. Sol, however, was nervous for a bit, his eyes still transfixed on yours. Still couldn't believe what you asked from him. Are you just gonna keep staring at her or what? Shut up. I'll feed her. Sol takes a spoon in his hand, a little bit too harshly, and scoops out some rice and a piece of the sausage, his whole face turning red to the point it reaches the tips of his ears. With a shaky hand, he lifts the spoon for you to take. You took a bite and chew. The mixture of flavors, how the rice remains warm and fluffy, and the sausage's savory taste. Hey yo, sausage's savory taste? I mean, what? Helps balance it out, sending a tingling feeling down your spine from your mouth. It's amazing. It's delicious. Sol, this is really good. Hyugo nods along with you, food stuffed in one cheek like a hamster. I know, right? You'd honestly be surprised. Sol, you'd make a great house husband. Sol's eyes widen at your declaration. You really think so? I really do think so. Do you want to get married to me? Look, do you want to get married to me? Look at right there. Sol is definitely house husband material you need. He can cook, he can clean, he can do anything. I'd rather not be your own personal butler. That was a compliment. You're too banter, but he couldn't help looking at Sol. The way his eyes sparkle, they remind me of bright fireworks during the new year. Sol then went quiet, his gaze lost in thought. This caught your attention, tilting your head to the side as he called out his name. Sol, you okay there? What? Oh, I'm fine, Yinny. Perfectly fine. But there was hesitation in his voice. Like him. You said something, Sol? He clears his throat, his back straightening and his eyes closing. That person, the one with the braids. Person? Does he mean Crow? You mean Crow? For a split second, his gaze darkens. Yeah. Oh. Him. Can I ask you something? This confused you a bit. What made him interested all of a sudden, and towards Crow nonetheless? Maybe he would like to know more about him? Crow is known to be very friendly. Sure, what is it you'd like to ask me? Do you like him? Your heart drops and you nearly choke on your own spit. Maybe. I'm gonna say no. What makes you say that? You nervously laugh. Nothing of the sort. Hesitance lingered within his orange orbs, unsure of whether to believe you or not. Wanting to change the subject before he gets any more suspicious, you blurt out the same question he throws at you. How about you, Sol? Surely there's someone you like. He smirks. The very same grin he makes when he teases makes its way up to his ever-handsome face. Why? You interested? Yeah? As if. A wild blush erupts from your face as you try to diffuse the topic. Sol chuckles from the way you stammer and fidget, his gaze softening. So cute. Sol, stop it, my god. Hyugo eventually finished his own box, tucking it away and wrapping it back up. Standing up from the bench, Hyugo stretched out his limbs and paced a few steps forward before turning to look at you and Sol with his hands on his hip. Is this what you guys do every day? Or at least when you both get together? You raise a question. Hyugo turns his head to you with a slight tilt. What do you mean? You mean Sol giving me lunch? He just keeps forgetting to bring his own. Hyugo pouts. And you never finish yours, so I do the honors of ever finishing good food. Thank you very much. The bento box art. What inspired them, if you don't mind me asking? You didn't know? Shut it, Gogo. Gogo? Oh, now we're using the nicknames now, Sonny. How sweet of you. You see, Hyugo, my old pal just makes the food art like the typical artist that he is. But he never bothers to finish it, much less eat it. And he really loves cute things like... With a finger under his chin, Hyugo ponders for a short moment, trying to remember something from the top of his head, but to no avail. He turns to his friend, his arms crossed, seemingly uninterested in answering whatever inquiry Hyugo is gonna throw at him. What was the name of your plush horse, Sonny? Like hell I'm answering that. Boo! He owns a plush horse. Sol owns plushies. Sol bites his lip, his face turning red upon the reveal of his little secret. That's so cute. You're full of surprises, Sol. He says nothing as he fixes his choker, the red blush tinting his face, making its way to the tips of his ears. But he appreciates your compliment nonetheless. Looks can be deceiving. This makes you wonder, why do people never bother to notice him? Why don't people want to get to know him? Maybe they just never gave him the chance because of how he looks. Not to mention his intimidating height. But he isn't like that at all. In fact, he can be considered as a gentle giant. Time passes for a while, and now Sol and Hyugo are both leaning against the railings, observing the view below them. Curious, you make your way to where they are. Hyugo and Sol seem to be looking at something below. Their faces solemn and serious. Hyugo's face is blank, while Sol's expression is a mix of irritation and aggravation. You look down, and there you see a group of well-dressed people. But what makes them stand out is not from the way they dress, but from the way they carry themselves. They are clearly not from here, but the school's logo on their uniform's chest pocket says otherwise. They look so fancy. They look rich, dangerous, and you couldn't help but hold your gaze on the tallest one in the group. An adult man, you're guessing that he must be a staff member, maybe a teacher. But what sticks out about him is the eye patch on his face and a large scar behind it. It sends a shiver down your spine. High-class mugs. Sol exclaims, pure disgust coating his tone, not hiding a single bit as he pulls away from the railings and returns to the benches where you last were. High class? You don't know about the hierarchy, Kitty? No, not that I'm aware of. This is the first time I've ever heard of it. How come I never heard or seen one of them throughout my school years here? Hyugo lets out a low chuckle, his attention still on the group below him. Then his gaze darkens, the usual happy-go-lucky attitude you come to know disappearing in a flash, as if the person before you is a whole different human being. I don't blame you, no one likes talking about them anyway. High class. He sends a chilling glare down at the group below. The school building isn't actually the real thing. Wait, what? But the school map clearly says that the address is... That's why they actually fool you. You might think you got it right, but we are sorted based on our background. The real school building? Way farther than we are. And their campus is 10 times bigger and better. They get proper classes, have better equipment, everything's just better. Here, we only get the short end of the stick. The afterthought, if you will. If I have to guess, the well-off are in the main building. That's right, son of a duke, daughter of a businessman. As long as you're rich, you're in. Your chances for having a better education rest there. If you're part of the high class, then you'll have a better chance of having a stable and successful life. But don't we have students here who are like, super rich? You recall Crow introducing you to Jess, her being a daughter of a family that owns a large company. But how come she's not part of the high class? There are some who end up shifted down and moved to our building. Either they failed a class or got a violation. They don't want that type of strain on their reputation, so they send them here. Of course, some don't appreciate that. They see us as someone lower than them. Hence, Hyugo glances back at Sol. Sent male now busying himself with a sketchpad. A soft look flashes in his eyes, like how a mother would worry over their child. Oh, Hyugo. There, you understood something. Oh, they have to fight the weak to feel something, huh? They sound like nothing but bullies. How come someone didn't step up to complain? Hyugo laughs at your words, as if you told him the best joke of your life. He shakes his head in disagreement. Only it was that easy. His laughter dies down, his expression back to being solemn as he scratches the back of his head. Actually, in the city, no one really gives a shit. Money's the only thing revolving around the city. You got no cash, you're done for. Which is why people like us. He turns to look at you, dead in the eyes, are desperate to get into the higher class. If you so dare complain. He pauses, contemplating on the next set of words he's gonna say, his mouth opening and closing like a guppy out of water. Instead, he gives you a warning look. Sky blue eyes that once reminded you of summer skies are now cold like sharp icicles about to pierce you. You're better off dead. With one last look below, Hyugo lets out a sigh as he turns to look somewhere else, trying to shove away the thoughts clouding his mind. But that's a sad reality here. The attention is good. Great, even. Your chances to get a stable life and even have a knock to stardom is high once you're part of the high class, much less graduate here. But that's the sad reality here. The attention is good. Great, even. About the hierarchy. How come I never heard of the hierarchy before? It's like a hidden thing. But that's what we call it. The school. No. This entire city. It's like a fighting pit. Whoever's the most powerful has a better chance at living a good life here. People come to the school to gain a second chance in life. But to achieve that, you have to make yourself well known. Make them think you're worth their time. If not, you're on your own. I have nothing else to ask. The city is corrupted. He mutters under his breath, which makes me question, Yini. How are you able to get in the city? No, the better question is, why did you enroll in the school, if you don't mind me asking, that is? You're clearly not from here. Your eyes widen at the words that the well-dressed man said. No, I refuse. Yini, I thought I told you to stay inside. You're not taking this farm. My house. You cut your father's words off, marching towards the tall man with a loud and heavy footsteps. The tall man, however, raised a brow at you, raising his hand to hold his men. His deep magenta eyes then turned to look straight into yours. It sends a chill down your spine. Whoa, a bit feisty there, seeing as this is our first time meeting, right? Let me introduce myself first. Why does he remind me of Don Flamingo from One Piece? My name is, redacted, but you may call me Mr. Z. I will not. As for our little agenda, how about this, little lamb? If you manage to pay off your debt over the next 5 years, I'll let you off the hook and let you keep your land. 5 years? You can handle that. Maybe working 3 jobs will do it for you. What the hell, man? I don't want to work 3 jobs. He tugs, waving a finger in front of your face. He looks down at you, reminding you of your place, a mischievous smile appearing on his handsome features. But I have some conditions that you need to meet. He went silent. Your heart starts pounding in your chest as you keep eye contact with his sharp magenta orb. I want you to stay in the city. The city? But we can't even afford to take her to college. What more moving in the city? Your father interrupts the man mid-sentence. The man merely gives your father a side glance, making the old man freeze on his feet before returning his gaze back to you. No need to worry, she'll be under my jurisdiction, of course. I'll provide for her education and accommodation. Suddenly he bursts out in laughter, throwing his head back a bit as if he just heard a very funny joke. See? I'm not that cruel. Wouldn't you agree, Yinny? But just like I said before, I want you to pay off your debt. Land doesn't come in cheap, darling. I'm very patient with how long this land's payment has been postponed. A sudden jerk on your collar made your heart jump. His face now mere inches away from yours. His brows furrowed in anger and filled with spite. Yinny! Not one step, old man. He screams at your father, not sparing him a glance as he keeps his hold on your collar. You try to claw his hands away from it, but to no avail. Seeing that you're losing more air the more you struggle. Listen here, punk. I don't care what kind of method you're gonna use in order to make money. A dark smile appears on his face and sends a shiver down your spine. Be a good citizen and get a part-time job like the rest, or whore yourself out in strip clubs. Legal or illegal, I don't freaking care, as long as you reach the amount. If not, well, you can say goodbye to your little farmland. He says that, but there was a gleam in his eye that he's telling you that that's not all. Letting go of your collar, he steps back as you greedily take in the air that you lost. It is making its way towards your eyes, threatening to drop. So, little fawn, what's it gonna be? You bit the bottom of your lip. You turn to look at your father. His eyes were clearly telling you to decline. You didn't want to comply to this man's words, much less take his offer. You think he might throw you another form of debt for letting him fund you to go to the city. There was something about this man that screamed dangerous, but you were too desperate to not lose your home. Your only home. Tick-tock, sweet thing. I haven't got all day. The tall man's gaze still fixed on you, waiting for your answer. Do you accept? You recall the dream you had this morning. It felt as if it happened yesterday, despite the events that happened nearly 4 years ago. You're still haunted by the deal that the tall man offered to you. Hyugo observes the way your face hardens, the way your eyebrow arched and a drop of sweat dripping amidst the cool autumn wind. There, he understood. Let me guess. It's something you can't avoid. I honestly don't know. My father never really disclosed as to why we were in debt. I was so desperate to not lose my only home. I need to make it up to the higher class no matter what. 3 jobs isn't cutting off the way I want it to be. I'm running out of time. This is my last year in this cursed university, and I'm barely making any progress. Hyugo's gaze remains on your figure. You realize you haven't answered this question yet. My family owns a farm in the south. You finally speak, making Hyugo perk up his eyes in curiosity. What sort of farm does your family have? Oh, well, we have some wheat fields and we tend to animals such as cows and horses. Horses? Bet Sol's gonna love that place. That sounds nice. I'd love to be out in the city once in a while. You give him a small smile. Yeah, some might say it's boring, but it's not. You get to pet horses and cows. Well, you should really invite me or even Sol over then if ever. Having you give us a tour there would be a great change of scenery. But that means you're a long way from home. Don't you miss it? A little bit. That's alright. It's normal to feel a bit homesick. I heard great things about the city. About the school. Hyugo remains quiet, listening to you as you go on. If I can manage to come out on top, and maybe part of the higher class like you said, then I can maybe save my family's farm. Crossing his arms, he says nothing, as he looks at you one last time before letting out an endearing chuckle. You remind me of her. Like her? I'm rambling. Don't mind me. Having caught red-handed, he waves his hands around in a slight panic. His face now red as a cherry. You tilt your head in confusion. Just then you feel a presence behind you. Turning around, you're met with Sol. His glare is stingy and directed at Hyugo. The shorter male, however, didn't mind it, probably used to it. It's almost time, we should head back. Alright. With nothing else to do, the 3 of you leave the rooftop. You take one step down, looking up and ready to converse with Sol and Hyugo, when you suddenly lose your footing. Yinny, whoa! You alright there, Yinny? Yeah. Thank you, Sol. Did he catch me? That's so cute. Eyes wide in shock, you hold onto Sol's arm tight. His other arm wrapped around your waist as he pulls you close to his chest. You can feel both of your heartbeats run. Pulling away, you steady your footing, observing the stairs, cursing at how weirdly formed it is. Be careful next time. Sheesh, this school is bad architecture. Also, one of the few flaws here, the stairs are all wonky. It's also why it's forbidden to go up here. We're troublemakers though. Hyugo lets out a cocky grin, then goes down the stairs with much ease, as if it's nothing to him. What a freaking menace. Turning to Sol, you grab a hold of his shoulders. He did not mind as you use him as a guide in descending down the stairs. The school bell rang throughout the hallway, signaling the start of the next class. Hyugo lets out a groan. Oh, I don't want to go to class. I hate my history teacher as much as my coach in archery. Why'd you skip then? Hyugo's eyes popped open. It became bright like a light bulb appearing out of his head and lighting up. Sol knows exactly what that look means. Don't tell me you're actually... I am going to skip class. How about this? Screw this school. If they're gonna treat us badly, then let's be the bad guys. A mischievous look makes its way to Hugo's face. Sol already knew what that look meant. Sighing as he did so, he turns to you, waiting for your response to Hugo's offer. The thought of skipping class is quite a gamble. Your next class is with Crow in art history. But then again, your teacher will probably only do some boring-ass introduction. Missing one wouldn't hurt, would it? Alright, let's skip. Hugo lets out a small cheer and gives you a thumbs up. Sol gives you a cheeky smile of his own. How do we do that though? Obviously, I know a way. I know a way. Without wasting any more time, Sol leads the way, going through the backside of the school near the gardens. The edges, of course, were barricaded by a tall iron fence. Sol finds a bush and pushes it aside, revealing a gaping hole. Hehe, gaping. Well, that's quite convenient. Did you make this hole, Sol? He did. I did. Hugo went ahead first through the hole. Sol waits for you first before following right after. The three of you went past a few bushes and shrubs, the leaves falling as you passed by them. The red and orange leaves scattering around and some making its way to your uniform before you all eventually made it out and met with pavement. So, where do we go? Hugo thought for a moment, looking around before pulling out his phone. Suddenly, he lets out a gasp, scrolling through his phone faster before gripping onto Sol's shoulder, earning him a hiss from the taller male. Sherlock Holmes is out? My ears. Oh yeah, it's that detective movie I keep seeing on the TV. I thought that wouldn't come out till next week. Did I set the date wrong? With that, Hugo starts sprinting, leaving you and Sol behind. Oh, for the love of... Sol placed his hands on his hips before walking to where Hugo ran off as he followed. Hugo kept tapping away on his phone, his shoulders went slump. Yes, he did get the date wrong. Shoving his phone back into his pocket, he turned to you and Sol, clasping his hands together and pulled the biggest puppy eyes you've ever seen. We have got to watch it. Can we, Yinny? Can we, Sonny? Hugo begged. You can go ahead and watch the movie. I'm gonna roam the arcade while you're at it. Hugo pouted. His eyes went half-lit and the sparkle in his eyes was gone. But it's more fun if you're around. I know you like those crime videos you watch from time to time, so please. Sol, however, basing off his expression, isn't in the mood. Hugo gives up and turns to you. How about you, Yinny? Would you like to watch the movie with me? The ticket and food's on me, of course. Watch the movie or go to the arcade. I think this time we will go to the arcade. Hugo shrugs. Alright, go on your little impromptu date then. Besides, I don't want a third wheel either way. Date? You're the one who decided we should skip class and do whatever we want. Yeah, and I want to watch a movie. Well, don't let me stop you two. Hugo stuck his tongue out in Sol, and said Mail only rolled his eyes. Well, I'll be heading in now. I'll just give you guys a call on where to meet. Sure. You and Hugo parted ways. He gave you both a wave before heading in a different direction. Sol turns to you. Should we get going, Yinny? Of course. The flashing neon lights of the arcade's exterior lights your way. The sound of each arcade machine reaching your ears. I've never been here before. Is this place new? Not really. It's just hidden within the city. I see, I see. Do you get out a lot, Sol? You seem to know places. I know places because I get my ass dragged by Hyugo. Is that so? He laughed. Sol just shrugged as he shook his head. He takes out a few coins from his pocket before handing them to you. They were tokens. So, which one are you gonna go for first? Wow, you came in prepared. As always. Come on. Sol holds out his hand and you accept it. He held it tight with a light squeeze as you and him roam around the arcade. You and Sol went and played multiple arcade games, some you win and some he does. But you often get the feeling that he lets you win for the sake of you winning. Come on, Sol, this is like the 5th time I won. Ain't no way you're this bad. Maybe you're just that good. You flatter me. Just when you're about to insert another coin, however, you realize you ran out of tokens. Sol takes notice of this, of course, and gives out some of his to you. I'll go to the counter and grab a few more tokens. You don't mind staying here for a bit, right? Oh, how much should I pay you for the tokens? It's on me. Don't worry about it. Wait here. Giving you one last look, he hurriedly went to the counter. You looked around the area. The dinging sounds from various machines filled the arcade. From the corner of your eye, you spot a claw machine. Maybe playing a few games wouldn't hurt. Going to the claw machine, you check the contents inside. A cat plushie, a Shiba Inu plushie, and a horse plushie. They all look so cute. Which one should I try to win? Let me think. Horse plush. You remember how Sol likes horses? Maybe you can try to win one for him. They are his tokens after all. You took out some of the tokens Sol gave to you and inserted one into the coin slot. The machine whirs to life as you take the joystick in your left hand while hovering the right button on your right. You're focused. Eyeing the claw in its position, trying to align it with the horse plush. The claw takes a hold of the plush. Your eyes widen as you cross your fingers hoping it catches it. But you're interrupted with a sudden smack to your head. Whoa! With a sudden smack to your ass. You jerked and turned around. What the hell? Well, well, well. What do we have here? You turn around and met with the tall figure, a cocky smirk on his face. He looks well off. Like those typical spoiled rich kids you see in movies, his hair a bit tousled, with two men you assume who are his bodyguards beside him. He reeks of tobacco, making you gag. You said nothing, but trying to move away from his sight, but you were stopped by another tall figure. You're guessing he's with this asshole. Man, I wish there was an option for me to like beat the crap out of them. Now, where do you think you're going this, sweetheart? You alone? Yes, and I would very much prefer to be alone. The man, however, did not listen. Why don't you come with me, and I'll show you how these games are played. How about I revoke your sausage privileges? He raised his hand to reach your shoulders. Before he could touch you, however, you kick him between his legs. Oh my god, sausage revoked. He doubled over and clenched his lower region, a groan escaping his lips. His goons were taken aback and rushed to help him. Now's my chance. Don't let her get away. Multiple heavy footsteps were coming after you as you ran. You turn every corner you can trying to make them lose you. But 3 against 1 is not a good matchup. Anyone, please, someone help me, he pleaded. But the multiple sound effects and music from each machine within the arcade drowns your pleas. You curse under your breath as you focus on running. All you can think about at the moment is to get out. You manage to get out of the arcade, but you can still clearly hear the man and his goons on your tail. You look around and found a few toilet stalls. You rushed towards it and got into a stall, hurriedly opening and locking it as soon as you got in. The place stinks, but you don't give it another thought as the beating of your heart rings through your ears, tears filling up the corner of your eyes. You hear footsteps. Find her. The man's voice echoed. You try to think of something, and you thought of calling Sol. You quickly take out your phone. No signal. Are you for real right now? You can hear how aggressive they are as they tear open each stall. They creep closer and closer to where you are. Anyone, please. Here you are. No, please. You've been a very bad girl. But don't worry, you can make it up to me by doing me a favor. Screw you and your favors. I've been kind to you. No, I've been kind to you, but it seems like you want to do it the hard way. He forcefully grabs the edge of your uniform, your eyes going wide as your fingers went cold. You quickly grab a hold of his wrist as you try to push him away. He's too strong. He forcefully lifts up your uniform, revealing your stomach to him. Hey! Not okay! You are gonna give me a good time, little darling. Boys, hold her down. No! Piss off! Let me go! The tears that were hanging by finally fell down your cheeks as you tried to stop him from going any further. And 2 large men with him held you down as you try and struggle, but to no avail. Your vision is slowly being blinded by the hot tears that were filling up. It's no use. His grip is too strong and there's no one near to hear me. You close your eyes shut. Please just end quickly. Hey, what's the big idea? Judging from the impact, the man's body was jerked off of you, and he was thrown to the side. Yay, Sol! Sol is here, everything is fine. You hear flesh hitting flesh. And another one. Oh, I heard that bone crunch. That's enough, Sol. Not yet. Ow, that's enough. You broke his nose already. No. Sol, that's enough. He needs your help. At the mention of your name, the familiar reddish-orange eyes went wide open before turning to you. Sol quickly went to your side, his eyes wide with shock before crouching down and giving you a hug, his shoulders shaking as he embraces you. He said nothing, however, too stunned to speak to what transpired before you. The man now lay still, a pool of blood seeping out of him. The rest of his goons passed out in a random corner. He looked up and met with the all-too-familiar eyes of Hyugo, but they weren't the kind ones you usually saw on his face. Hyugo's eyes twitched as he sighed, trying to hide his visible irritation but failing. He looks around at the mess Sol made before turning to check up on you. He says nothing, hands in his pockets while he looks down at you in Sol's embrace. It's getting quite late. We should head home. Hyugo taps Sol's shoulder, making the tall male bury his face further in between your neck before eventually letting go. Oh, my poor soft sweet baby. His eyes were bloodshot, his face red from either anger or worry. You aren't sure, but there's one thing that is for sure, is that this man before you cried. He cried for you. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have left you. Sol, thank you for saving me. You reach out to cup his cheek, and he flinches at the touch. Tears that he was trying to hold back now are flowing freely down his cheeks. Oh, my poor baby. He eventually relaxed as he closed his eyes and leaned on your hand as he held it. I don't know what to do, I felt. It's okay. It's alright. Here. Beside you, Hyugo extended his hand for you to take. You notice in his other hand is the same horse plush you tried to win back at the crane game. He took Hugo's hand as he helped you get up. Sol stands as well, but backs away from you for a few steps. We should head back home. It's quite late after all. Both you and Sol didn't say anything but nod along. Hyugo gives you both a smile before walking away. Sol kept a firm hold of your hand, seemingly afraid to let go. Hyugo lets out a sigh. I guess we can't get in that arcade anymore. Those guys might come back to teach us a lesson. If they ever come back, I'll give them more than just a broken nose. You're pretty scary right now, Sol. Good. I'd like to keep it that way. Hyugo shakes his head. He rummages through his pockets before handing Sol something. You didn't quite see what it was, but judging by the scowl on Sol's face, he doesn't like it. I told you these don't work anymore. It's because you aren't taking it, you fool. Now take it tonight. Sol grumbled like a child who got scolded, before taking whatever Hyugo gave to him and tucked it in his pockets. Wait, what was it? Anyway, your place is just around the corner. You should head back as soon as possible. I'll be taking Yinny home. Sol's eyes narrowed. He went from holding your hand to wrapping his arm around yours in a possessive manner as he leaned closer and glared at Hyugo. No, I can walk her home. Clearly, you're not in a good condition to fight again. I can fight again. There was something in Hyugo's eyes that made your blood run cold. The usual happy-go-lucky expression he had on his face was gone. You take a look back at Sol, noticing how unfazed he seemed, as if he was challenging Hyugo. Sol's eyes are all red. Let Sol walk you home. Both of them looked at you in surprise. Hyugo seems to disapprove of your choice, while Sol's whole demeanor shifted from shocked to cocky as he slowly turned his head to his shorter friend. Oh? You heard her, Hyugo. I can handle this. I can walk Yinny home. Yinny trusts me, and I want you to trust me too. Hyugo looks at his friend in wild disbelief, almost as if offended by what Sol said. He took notice of the way his fist tightened, causing his veins to bulge out from the force he exerted. Look, Hyugo, it's fine. Sol is just gonna take me home, and then we are going to have nasty relations in my bedroom. Eventually, he gives up with a sigh. Hyugo turns to you. If it's fine for you, Yinny, then I can't force you. The shorter male didn't say anything afterwards. He then turned on his heel. Hyugo walks away. You and Sol stare at his back until his figure becomes smaller and the light post no longer illuminates the path that he walked on. Is he always like that? Rubbing the redness away from his eyes, he turns to you. Like what? Like really bossy, especially towards you. I thought he was the happy-go-lucky type. I guess you can't judge a book by its cover. Sol didn't say anything. His gaze lingered on the now empty path where Hyugo had headed. He takes your hand and wraps his fingers around yours with a smile on his face. He looks happy. What matters is that you're here with me right now. Aww, Sol. Hello, Pudlet. Come sit here. What matters is that you're here. No, you can't rub against my mic. What happens is that you're here with me right now. Shall we get going? He's so cute. I love him. Please excuse the place's condition right now. I didn't expect a visitor to come this evening. But I would like it if Sol came this evening, if you know what I mean. You said with a bit of a chuckle, rubbing the back of your head as you welcome Sol inside your apartment. I don't mind. Sol eventually takes a step inside your apartment, but did not go any step further and remained by the door. Sol, are you a vampire? You can't come in. Sol's figure was a bit stiff as he lingered by the entrance. Maybe he needs some convincing that it's alright to come in. Taking a hold of Sol's hand, you led him to the living room and made him sit on the couch. Well, now Sol, whip it out. Upon taking his seat, Sol placed down the horse plush you won for him on the table beside him. His whole demeanor, however, still remained rigid. You don't need to be stiff, Sol. I mean, you can be stiff in another way if you'd like. Just make yourself at home. I'm just not used to being in other people's spaces, much less their homes. Really? Not even Hyugo's? Sol just shakes his head, and you begin to ponder. However, your train of thought was cut short when Sol started flexing his knuckles. That's right. Stop what you're doing and wait there. I'll go grab the medkit. And don't you even dare strain your fists any further. You really don't have to do all this, Yinny. You tutted, placing your hands on your hips. My house, my rules. Plus, I did insist on treating your wounds. Sol didn't say anything, but just let his hands relax. He looked stiff, but through your word, he loosened his shoulders just a tad bit. You hurriedly ran to your room, and the bathroom connected to it, and took the first aid kit before returning back to the living room. Once you returned, you took the empty space right beside Sol. Hands. You say that like I'm some sort of dog. Would you not bark for me, Sol? Despite his remark, he did as he told him and showed you his hands. Taking his hand into yours, your eyes furrowed at the gash, and a few blisters adorned on his once pale knuckles. Taking a disinfectant and a piece of cotton from the kit, you lightly dabbed the formula onto the cotton. This might sting a bit. Sol doesn't say anything. Taking it as a sign to proceed, you gently dabbed the cotton on the bruises on his knuckles, earning a few hisses here and there from him. You did the same to his other hand, but this time he was silent, seemingly used to the stinging pain. After disinfecting the wound, you took out some gauze bandages and wrapped it around the knuckles. You were so busy wrapping the bandages that you failed to notice how he kept looking at you while you were patching him up. You only realized that when you finished wrapping his hands, you looked up and your eyes met with his reddish-orange orbs. Orbs that reminded you of summer daisies of a rare breed. But the word summer doesn't really quite fit him. Instead, he reminds you of the harsh and cold winds of fall. Despite his icy exterior, he's shown you nothing but warmth, like a fuzzy scarf to shield you from the freezing autumn winds. He hasn't let go of his hands from yours yet. Kiss his knuckles. You had no idea what made you do what you did next, but you raised his hands in yours and pressed your lips onto his bandaged knuckles. He did not jerk his hand away, but the look of pure shock was displayed on his face. His face went red, while his eyes grew wide like saucers. Look at him blush, he's so cute. Sol, I would kiss somewhere else if you'd like. Sol lets out a low and nervous cough, tilting his head to the side in a shy manner. I'm not a kid anymore, you know. But it makes you feel better, right? You let out a chuckle. His silence was enough of a confirmation. You eventually let go of his hands, and he pouts when you do. You sit up from the couch, your gaze lingering on his sitting figure. Do you need anything else, Sol? A cup of water, perhaps? No, there's no need. Oh, come on, Sonny. A brow raised with mild curiosity at the familiar nickname that you uttered. Sonny. Yeah, Sonny. There was a slight pause. The air was still. You felt nervousness starting to crawl up your skin. You rubbed the back of your necks. Sorry, I guess that's quite too bold of me to casually give you a nickname all of a sudden. No, it's just that I'm used to hearing that from Hugo's mouth. Well, only from Hyugo. How about calling me something else? My boyfriend? You don't mind a nickname? If Hugo's gonna give me one, why not you? Oh my god, that face is so hot. The smirky face with the eyebrow. I will give Sol a nickname. Give Sol a nickname. Note the last name you input will be the nickname used if you press enter. Oh no, what do I call him? I feel like this is gonna have an impact in the demo, but I think I'm just gonna like be really boring, type his name here, and then pretend it's a nickname. Sol. Yes, Sol. Quite fitting for someone like you. You nudge and wink at him. Sol merely smiles and shakes his head. He looks up at you and admires your face. Sure, Yandere, you can call me that whenever you like. Now that's done. Now we kiss? With a hand over his heart, he gives you a knowing look, gaze serious as if he's about to make a vow. Oh, weird way to propose, but yes. Let me repay your kindness, Yandere. Hey, you don't have to, Sol. It's the least I could do as your friend. No, I insist. I can make you dinner tonight if you like. Oh, I would love that. That won't be necessary. Before you could protest, however, you felt your stomach rumble. The sound was loud enough to be heard, which earned a low chuckle from Sol. I can cook. Not on my watch, mister. Your hands need to rest. I'll do the cooking. Before Sol could retort to insist on cooking, you pulled him up from his seat and started pushing him towards the kitchen dining room. Is there anything you like and don't like? Nothing really, as long as it's from you. What? But really, I'm fine. You've done enough for me already, Yandere. I'm just doing this to return the favor. You shake your head no before forcing him back to the seat. Sol sighs and gives up, tapping his elbows on the wooden table as he looks at your figure. Happy that he complied, you turn to stare at your kitchen sink. What the heck are you gonna cook? You never had a guest before. Hell, even Crow has never entered your apartment, and you had no other friends to even call over to hang out. Are you really this lonely? While you're in the middle of fighting your own thoughts, Sol hums a tune. You hear him drag out his chair and stand up, and you soon find his tall figure now looming behind you. He held his hands behind his back as he inspected your cupboards. Seems like your kitchen is quite empty. Well, it's not completely empty. Reaching out towards the cupboard above you, he pulls out a box of curry powder and gives it to you. Oh, this could work. I'll look forward to it. An idea then struck you. What if you help me make those cute foods like the one you made this afternoon? You mean the bento box I made for Hyugo? I can, but does that mean I can work in the kitchen? Not a single finger. Oh, his pouting face is adorable. Sol merely pouted. He placed the box of curry on the counter. As he crossed his arms and leaned on his back, his gaze not leaving your figure. Alright, pumpkin, let's see what you got. I'll eat as you go. I mean, that could be taken in two ways. Using your phone, you search up on how to make a simple curry, checking the list of ingredients that you thankfully had on hand before preparing everything on the counter. Sol checks around and lets out an approving hum. He begins by telling you to prepare the ingredients. Thankfully, you have most of them lying around. You wash the potatoes and carrots, and proceed to peel the skin off one by one. Sol still remains right beside you, his arms now crossed as he observes. When you set aside the vegetables, however, he suddenly takes out a knife from your knife holder, along with your chopping board, then moves to chop the vegetables. You're about to protest, but then stopped yourself when he gave you the side eye, a smirk on his face as he cut them neatly and into equal sizes. He has experience and he made it clear. Oh, what else do you have experience in, Sol? Show off. After cutting them, he sets the chopped vegetables in a bowl as he awaits the rest from you. I could have handled it on my own, you know? Yeah, you can. But what if I'm stubborn like that? Oh. Well, at least this makes the work faster. You eventually finished peeling the carrots and took the knife from Sol, shooing him away and taking his task. Sol complied and went back to leaning on the counter. You looked at the perfectly cut potatoes and carrots. Did he make flower-shaped carrots? How did you do this? Do what? This! It's so cute! Do you want me to teach you? Wait, let me do it first. I want to see how I can replicate it. Grabbing a piece of the sliced carrot, you try to replicate the flower-shaped carrots like Sol did. However, every time you managed to cut one, a piece of the petal would fall off. Again and again and again. Oh. You placed the knife down and lifted your sleeves up and continued on. You're too focused on trying to cut a piece of carrot to fully realize that a large pair of bandaged hands were now on top of yours. Oh, so cute! Sol's figure loomed behind you. His torso pressed close to your back as he leaned his face right next to yours. His breath fanned your cheek while you stand frozen. You can feel the heat slowly rising up to your cheeks. Calm down. Let me help you. Oh wow. Oh my god. With his guidance, he leads you with utmost care. Don't cut too much. That's how you managed to accidentally cut off a petal. Do this instead. You couldn't focus. Your heart was beating too fast. The rumble his chest makes whenever he spoke echoed through you. You can feel his heartbeat as well. It was beating fast like yours. You let him lead you like a puppet to its master. There. This looks better. You were too distracted by his overall presence that you didn't realize how the once round carrot was now in the shape of a blossom. It only hit you once he stepped out. His arms around you gone and he was off your back. You looked down at the masterpiece before you. You make them so pretty. I think you can make them prettier. Solely what I did. That's the problem. I wasn't paying attention. I was too busy feeling you pressed up against my back and feeling your hands on top of mine, and among many other things. You weren't paying attention, were you? You avoided his gaze and he lets out a chuckle. I can show you again. I think that's alright. We're running out of carrots anyway. Just need to chop the rest of the potatoes and we're done prepping. Want me to help with the potatoes? Sit down, mister. While you were cooking, with Sol's aid and instructions, of course, the said man took the honor of making orange juice, claiming it was less of a risk since he kept on insisting to help you let him be. Sol sets the table while you turn off the stove, the curry's aroma filling the dining room. The curry was hot, and steam rose from the pot as you carried it by the handles with mittens on your hands, and then you set it on the table. Sol sat across from the table. The orange juice he made in the pitcher now settled on the table along with 2 glass cups. You sat down in your seat as well. Oh, look at us having dinner with him. Look at this little date. Oh, so cute. Thank you for the food. Thank you for the food. Oh, it smells so good. Without wasting time, you took a spoonful of warm curry and rice, blowing the steam away and then plopping it into your mouth. You let out, oh my gosh, adorable. So cute. You let out a joyful hum, and Sol just chuckled as he ate his own portion of curry. You should write down the spices he made me add. I didn't think they would taste this good. I'll list them down once you're done eating. Couldn't argue with that. You discard the dishes in the sink after dinner. You and Sol sit in the kitchen for a while, somehow finding yourselves talking about food as you drank what was left of the orange juice. Sol still making himself comfortable on the dining table. I can send you a few of my favorite dishes if you want to try them. That'll be great. I'd like to learn more from you if given the time. Of course. Anything for you, Yandere. Sol smiles at you. You look back to what happened today, and how much he's been with you. From making you feel safe, to making you laugh, to actually protecting you. And now he just casually helps you make dinner, even though you just bandaged his wound like any other normal person would do. Cooking with him, dining with him, playfully kissing him, and also doing the sex with him. It all seems so domesticated. Like you and him are... You took another swig of the orange juice, chugging it down to the last drop, catching Sol by surprise. You feel your heartbeat quicken, and the familiar warmth of your face heating up again. You let out a yawn. Oh, excuse me. What time is it? It's 8:45. That late already? Late? My ass is sitting here at 4:30 in the morning? I've been taking too much of your time, Sol. You still need to go home. No, he doesn't. He can stay the night and he can share the bed with us, and then we can, finagle each other. It's a school day tomorrow. You rub your eyes, another yawn escapes your lips. No, don't worry about it too much, Yandere. I feel quite happy you let me in and traded my wounds. Not to mention sharing dinner as well. Sol wanted to say something, but he stops himself before he could utter the words in his mind. Instead, he leans in closer. His eyes were half lidded as he looked at you expectantly. Why are there 3 of them? Did he put Hyugo's pills into my food? What? Why are there 3 of them? Your head's getting dizzy. You seem tired, Pumpkin. No, I'm fine. Let me get you the door. Your eyelids felt heavy from the sudden creeping drowsiness that wrapped around you. You rubbed your eye, trying to shake off that heavy feeling. His face! What? Oh my god! Your hand lost its strength. I think he did put something in our food. Your hand lost its strength. Something slipped and the glass shattered on the floor. Beyond your fading vision, you caught Sol's smile, his hand pushing away the glass of orange juice that had never been touched. He put it in the orange juice. He looks at a figure now passed out on the table before him. He turns to stare at the pitcher, half filled with orange juice, as he crunches the packet of pills in his pocket, the very same packet Hyugo gave him before coming into the apartment. Oh my god. Taking the pitcher and his glass of orange juice, he drained it all out and placed them in the sink before returning to Yandere's side, not minding the shards of broken glass he's stepping on. He gently lifts Yandere's hand, and then drops it, and just like a motionless ragdoll, she remains unconscious. A smirk makes its way to his face. He gently placed his hands on her shoulder, before leaning in close to her neck, taking a deep inhale of her scent. He shivers in delight. Whoa, okay, not okay. He gently wrapped Yandere's arms around his shoulder, before carrying them in his arms like a groom to his spouse. Let's get you to bed, Pumpkin. He entered the room, seemingly familiar with the layout as if he's been through here multiple times. Oh, I bet he has absolutely been through here multiple times. He carefully walks towards the bed and lays her down on the duvet. The corners of his lips turn upwards, his eyes twitching. He then proceeds to lie down next to a sleeping figure, wrapping his arms around her abdomen and pulling her body closer to his, spooning her in the process. He buries his face into her neck. Like before, he inhales her scent like an addictive perfume. A shiver went down his spine, as he can feel his oh my god, okay, oh I see, somebody is pitching a heavenly pillow to the sky. Oh man, oh Sol, you didn't have to do that. I would have willingly gone with you. Oh, my darling Yinny. I feel so flattered that you trust me so much. Despite just meeting me yesterday, isn't this enough proof that you're meant to be mine and I was meant to be yours? Your soul resonates with mine. He makes himself comfortable, his arms still wrapped around, keeping his gaze on the apple of his eye. A wicked smile still settled on his face. He snuggles closer, hearing Yinny's steady heartbeat through the veins of her neck. I love you so much, Yinny. I want you to realize. I want your soul to realize. I know that it'll take some time, but I'm getting impatient, sweetheart. When will you realize? He asked under his breath, as if hoping for some answer from the sleeping woman caged within his arms. But only her soft and steady breathing filled his ears. He tightened his hold around her. His eyes didn't flutter shut as his thoughts kept him up till midnight. Heat rushed to his face, the sensation making him uncomfortable. Okay, this is the spicy scene. I am not allowed to show this to you guys, but it will be on Patreon. Yay! After tidying her up, he returns his hold around Yinny's stomach, bringing her back to their spooning position before burying his face into her neck once more. And for the first time, Sol slept well that night. That was insane! To be continued. Oh my god. Oh, jeez. I am so shocked at that ending. Holy shit. Oh my gosh. I think what we're gonna do now is try to get some of CROWE'S new scenes as well, and we'll see how that goes. So instead of going with Sol and Hyugo, we're gonna stay with the group instead. You give Hyugo a sad smile. I'd love to join you, Hyugo, but I'd like to stay with them for today if that's alright. Hyugo gives you a sad smile of his own before nodding his head, failing to notice how one of Sol's eyes twitched. Oh dear. Oh. That's alright, Yinny, but hit us up if you ever want to hang out, okay? You nod and he gives you an enthusiastic thumbs up. Before you could turn to Sol to apologize to him, Hyugo quickly dragged him away. You notice how his strides were slow and hesitant as Hyugo drags him away. He shrugged before returning to CROWE and the rest of the group. You inhale the familiar scent of fresh earth. A few leaves dance around the air, guided by the winds of autumn. Before you stands the school's own greenhouse. The greenhouse, where multiple healthy greens and colourful flora grow. This place is usually occupied by biology and botany students, with the occasional science teacher watching over them. You worked a lot of odd jobs at the school to lessen your student loan expenses. Your duties range from being a janitor to a teacher's assistant, but none of your positions would last as long as you hoped for because you always found yourself somehow getting in trouble for some sort of mess you made. You felt hopeless until your advisor recommended placing you in the greenhouse. With your background and knowledge related to plants, you thought maintaining the greenhouse was a perfect fit, and you've been working there ever since. Oftentimes, you think you understand the layout of the land, but you practically know the area like the back of your hand. But every day you seem to discover a new corner that you've never been to before. Sometimes, you're not even sure if you're within campus grounds anymore. It's probably because of the forest that stretched beyond this area. Anyway, there's a large fence preventing you from crossing the border, so you never really bother to explore further unless you want to get in trouble or be accused of slacking off. Now, you want to show your group of friends the new discovery you made while on duty last week. There's a field with a large tree right around the corner. It can make for a perfect shade for our little picnic. You exclaim, earning a look of approval from Brittany, almost as if she's impressed. The rest of the cast follow behind as you lead them to your destination. You hear some gasps of awe behind you. Daryl chuckles heartily in delight. Her hums feeling pleasant, and you hear Brittany say, interesting. They're clearly amazed at the field before them, and it fills you with pride knowing that you're able to impress them. Well, come on, the field's great, especially to lie on. Let's see what we have here. Ow! Not yet. Brittany slapped Daryl's hand away from the basket before he could raid the whole thing, making him wince and pout. Put your ass down, you'll have your turn. At this point, I'll have to charge you all every time you'll hit me. Are you some sort of masochist? Daryl gave Gio the side-eye. Brittany shook her head while Jess just giggled. It was a cute little get-together that Brittany planned that night. She wanted to make a few sandwiches, so she prepared lots of varieties. On the blanket are a few Tupperwares of some of the sandwiches inside while the rest are being eaten. Everyone got their fair share already. By now, everyone's just minding their own business. Daryl is having the time of his life with 2 sandwiches in both hands. Aw, Brittany and Jess are talking. Gio is a bit further away from the group, leaning on the bark of the tree, seemingly lost in thought, and CROWE is nowhere to be seen. Speak to Gio. You were quite hesitant to approach Gio at first. You always saw him as someone quite intimidating. More intimidating than Brittany. Aww. It's probably the way he carries himself. His towering height isn't helping either. It seems like you've just been staring at him for too long. You stop chewing on his sandwich as his gaze meets yours, and you shiver. What do you want? I have questions. Hurry up and spit it out. You and Hugo know each other. His eye twitched. You think you hit a sensitive nerve. I don't, and I don't want to associate myself with him. Whatever you said back in the hallway, forget about it. Is that so? If that's all you have to say to me, then leave. Wait, why are you so mean to me? Wait, actually I'm curious as to why. Why do you hang out with us, I mean? I don't mean it in a bad way, it's just that I'm curious. You don't seem like the type to. His piercing gaze made your voice die down, and you curse under your breath. Oh, I think this is it for me. I get it, but you wouldn't understand. Leave me to my devices. You are not very nice. Now, he demanded before wrapping the half-eaten sandwich he had in his hand, before throwing it towards you. You caught it, nearly losing your balance. And give that to Daryl. I just lost my appetite. Well, okay, look. You have done nothing but be a bit of a dick to me, I'll be honest. Gio then crossed his arms and looked up at the sky, the chilly autumn breeze passing by him, making his long hair sway along with his washy earrings. You take a look at the wrapped half-eaten sandwich in your hand. I guess I'll never know. Sigh. Speak to Daryl. Daryl seemed to be the least busy out of everyone. You approached his figure sitting as you took a seat in front of him. One sandwich gone from his hand as he munched on the other one from his other hand. He notices you and stops eating, tucking away the sandwich and placing all of his attention onto you. Yeah, you took out the half-eaten sandwich you got from Gio and handed it to him, and he tilts his head to the side. You can't finish. It's from Gio. Really now? I'm not gonna lie, that's quite uncharacteristic of him. Usually he would either finish it or throw it away. Not that I'm complaining though, next CD. Daryl thanked you with a smile and took the half-eaten sandwich from your hands before tucking it away. You had something to ask me, Yinny. About? What do you think about Crow? At the mention of the blue-eyed friend of his, Daryl gives you a toothy grin as he wiggles his eyebrows. You want jits on your little crushy, don't you, Yinny? Shut up! I just admire him, okay? And Daryl laughs and stops his teasing, saving you from further embarrassment. Crow's quite an individual. All I know he's the son of a very successful businesswoman in the city. Though I heard he doesn't have a great relationship with his family. What makes you say that? Daryl thought for a bit, but judging from his expression, he couldn't understand why either. I don't know either, Yinny. You should ask Crow for that if you want to learn more. I see. Don't worry, Yinny. I'm sure he'll do anything you ask for. He gives you a playful wink, and you roll your eyes but give him a smile nonetheless. Thank you for answering my questions, Daryl. Anytime, Yinny. You're one of us now, so open up a little. You got something to ask me? About Gio. What are your thoughts on Gio? Daryl smiled as he leaned a bit forward. Now, Gio's my favorite guy, even if he is a bit of a meanie at times. What makes you stick to him? Isn't he mean like you said? Daryl's smile brightened as his eyes went soft. He side-eyed the male by the tree who had his arms crossed. His attention was somewhere else. People are scared of him, probably because of his background. What about it? The thing is, no one really knows what his family does other than the fact that they're super rich and that they're highly involved with the founder of the city. People have seen him with his bodyguards, all rugged and tall and very intimidating. Heck, I even saw him with a huge katana on their back. You shiver. Clearly, you don't want to deal with them. But what makes you not scared, Daryl? I mean, you clearly know what his family and himself is capable of. You see, Yinny, I'm not really scared of him. On the outside, he's all stubborn and cruel. But on the inside, he's a really nice guy. Think of him like, He pursed his lips, thinking a bit. He's like a stubborn cat. You glance back at Gio one more time. You are seeing the cat eyes and the tail, alright? Now that you think about it, with this vision based off of Daryl's declaration, Gio does not seem quite as intimidating anymore. Now Kitt, then you hear a sigh from Daryl. You return your attention to him, an elbow on his leg as he held his face in his hand. Which begs me to wonder how he ended up being in the lower class with us. The low class? How do we have things like that? Oh? You know about the hierarchy, Yinny. You shook your head no and Daryl scratched the back of his head. Oh damn, well, Yinny, almost everyone knows about it. But I don't blame you since no one really likes bringing that type of subject up. I think either Crow or Jess would like to explain it to you. Just not Brittany, she gets riled up when it's mentioned. You nod in understanding and Daryl gives you a smile. Anyways, you have something to ask me? I have to ask you about everybody? What do you think of Jess? Aww. At the mention of Jess's name, Daryl's whole face turned red as he started sweating. Ooh, what about her? I don't know. I'd like you to tell me. What do you think about her? Daryl's cheeks just keep getting redder and redder. For a moment, his gaze turned to where Jess and Brittany were. He sighs as he looks away. Jess is the sweetest human being I have ever met. But don't tell anyone. I trust you with this because Crow trusts you, okay? Alright. I don't know what the big fuss is, but I promise I won't tell. You raise your hand in surrender. All a jock deflated on the spot. But yeah, she's sweet, she's pretty, she's cute. While some would make fun of me, she's always been there to give me a pat on the back. He groans, doubling over. His expression seemed like he just wants to throw up as he buries his face in his hands. I doubt she likes me back. You tilt your head, wondering why he thinks that way. What makes you say that? The way she looks at Brittany. Don't you think it's the look of someone in love? At that, your eyes widened in surprise. You quickly turn your head to where the two girls were. The eyes behind the transparent frames looked like the fresh citrus oranges in summer. They were bright, and they were fresh for the picking for Brittany. I know because that's the same look I gave to her when I first met her. It's the same look I see on Crow when he looks at you. Oh? He tore the loose strand from his bangs. He looked away from the two girls and focused on your surprised figure. I hate it, but I love seeing that look on her face. I wish it was on me though. Sorry, Daryl. He chuckled a bit. It's alright. Maybe one day I'll confess just to get it off my chest. All I want is to see her happy, even if it's not with me. Anyway, enough of the sad shit, You got something to ask me? About Brittany. Daryl gives you a proud smile. Brittany? She's my first friend back when I was new to the football team. You'd be surprised that she used to be in the cheer squad despite her being quite introverted. She was. Daryl's bright smile softened, a small gloomy look on it. He was trying so hard to hide it, but it was failing. Yeah. She quit right after the big games frat party 2 years ago. That party was something else since the higher classes were also part of it. The following day, she suddenly quit. I don't know why though. Not quite worth thinking about the past anyways. About Daryl. I'd like to know more about you, Daryl. Daryl rubbed the back of his head, quite embarrassed that you thought about him. Well, aren't you a flatterer? Where should I start? He thought for a while, his legs crossed while you waited for him as he pondered. Well, I am the ace of my football club. I hate my coach, but don't tell him that. I love food like lots. My most favorite would be sweets. If you ever got any on ya, smuggle me some, will ya? He says with a wink and a nudge. Other than that, I guess that's pretty much it. Well, that's it. Speak to Brittany. Brittany was minding her own business, seemingly tapping away on her phone. You're kinda shy to go any closer to her. Before you could turn and leave, however, she called out. She must have seen you from the corner of her eye. Yandere, come here. Don't be a stranger now. You clearly want to talk. Let me guess. Well, the sandwich is great. They were wonderful. She smiled at your response. I'm glad you like them. Anyway, enough about my sandwiches. You have something to tell me? Have you seen Crow? Crow? I think I saw him go deeper in the gardens, Brittany said with a raise of her brows. Let me guess. You want to finally confess your undying feelings for him. What makes you think that? Well, I'm not sure who's denser. Him or you. Whatever. If you need him, he's probably in the greenhouse. Brittany gives you a thumbs up, mouthing a good luck. As if I'm confessing, you thought with a pout. Brittany just gives you a teasing smirk. Anyways, enough of that. You have something to tell me? Thoughts on Daryl? Brittany just chuckled. You mean that meathead? He's an idiot, she says with a smile and sighs. She shakes her head at the thought of the tall jock. He's an idiot. But he's a smart idiot, I'll give him that. He's like a brother to me. It just baffles me how he barely has any friends. Now the school fails us. She shakes the idea before returning her attention back to you. Thoughts on Gio? Brittany raises an eyebrow. Don't tell me you got the hots for him. Nothing of the sort. What makes you think that? I mean, I wouldn't blame you if you do. If you can see how his locker is often filled with multiple love letters and gifts from various people, then I wouldn't be surprised. He's that popular. A loner like him, you'd be surprised. Tall and mysterious and dangerous. Everyone just flocks to him like a bird. The people are scared to even get close to him. So the next best thing they do is send him gifts. They never succeed though. Is he somehow overwhelmed by the attention? Not really overwhelmed. More like he's uninterested. He either doesn't read the letters and tosses them or he burns them. He burns them? That's so mean. And a waste of gifts too. Brittany just laughed, her shoulders shaking. That's GOT. How do you know all this? Brittany giggled before giving you a wink as she pressed a manicured finger on her lips as if to shush you. I know a lot of secrets. Anyways, thoughts on Jess? Upon hearing her name, Jess's head turned to where you both were. Brittany dismissed her, telling her it's nothing for her to worry about before turning back to you. Jessie, she's my best friend. She smiled as she looked at the orange band on her wrist. My very best friend. Aww. When no one was there to help me, she was there. You'd be surprised how confident and loud she is when she's mad. Brittany chuckled a bit as if reminiscing a fond memory. I owe it all to her for bringing me back up during those dark times. And enough of the past. Oh, that's it. Brittany gives you a nod before standing up from the ground. She stretches her limbs, letting out a few satisfying pops. She places a hand on her hip. I'll be cleaning up a bit. I'll talk to you later. You don't want any help? No thanks. I appreciate the thought though. He nodded as he stood up, leaving Brittany to attend to her own devices and speak to Jess. Jess was admiring the few orange leaves slowly falling from the tree. The slow descent of a leaf catches her attention before gracefully catching it with her delicate fingers. She knows as you approaching her, she drops the leaf, giving you her full attention. Yes, you need. What seems to be the problem? Oh, there's nothing. Actually, I just want to talk to you and ask a few questions. Then by all means, go ahead. I'll try my best to answer them. You have questions to ask me, Yandere? Have you seen Crow? Jess's eyebrows furrowed and shakes her head. I don't think I know what Crow is. Maybe you should ask Brittany. Maybe she knows. You thank her. Thoughts on Gio? Jess's shoulders start shaking at the mention of the tall and stoic individual. I hate to be one of those people, but he actually scares me. Have you seen how capable he is with his bow and arrow? No, actually, is he really that good? I only know he's from the archery club. Oh, then you should definitely attend the sports event next year. Gio is going to compete and the higher classes will be there to determine if the students are worth bringing up. Another shiver went up her spine. She wrapped her arms around herself, a bad memory crossing her mind. But whenever that happens, Geo seems to somehow miss his target and nearly hit someone with his arrow. Oh, what? Thankfully, it only cut the guy's hair and nothing else. He got disqualified sadly, but that was enough for me not to mess with him. How is he not in jail? You try to rack your brain for a reason why he's in school and not behind bars. However, Jess cuts you off before you can think any further. Enough of that. Thoughts on Daryl? The mention of Daryl, Jess's face went bright. This is probably the first time you've seen her smile without shaking like a lost lamb. Oh, Daryl. He's an amazing friend. He keeps me safe and I owe it to him quite a lot. Though I do feel bad for him most of the time. Brittany and Geo tease him way too much. Jess chuckles, looking at the jug sitting under the tree before turning back to you. He's a funny guy. I remember back when I made the mistake of giving him a bowl filled with candy last year's Halloween. He did tell me you like sweets. Why? What's wrong with giving him candy? Well, he gets sugar rushed pretty quickly and then gets super hyper. Brittany tried so hard in calming him down. Can you imagine? A 6-foot-tall jockey going around like a playful puppy. I bet Brittany didn't have a fun time. Jess nodded with a closed smile at you. What do you think about Brittany? Upon mentioning the gatherer's name, Brittany's head turned to the both of you. She didn't say anything but raised a brow as she tilted her head to the side. You called for me? Nothing, Britt. Jess quickly shooed her best friend away. Brittany shrugged before continuing on with her business. Jess lets out a sigh of relief as a small tint of red raises to her cheeks. Jess looked down at her skirt, fiddling with her pink wristband as her heartbeat quickens. Britt, she's my best friend. My very best friend, and I would do anything to see her happy again. She pushed back her glasses and looked at you, and there you saw the sparkles. Her smile is soft and you can tell. Jess, do you like Brittany? She was hesitant before looking down, nodding as she did so, still fiddling with her pink wristband. Promise not to tell? I promise. Thank you, Yinny. This will just be between the two of us. Besides, she gives you a big smile. I'll keep your oh-so-secret crush towards Crow a secret too. She giggled at your surprised look at the mention of Crow. You rubbed the back of your head as he pouted. You have questions to ask? Nope, no more. It was wonderful talking to you, Yinny. You should hang with us more. And with that, she gives you a wave goodbye. Alright, let's look for Crow. You pretty much talk with everyone here, and they all seem to be busying themselves. You look around the garden before moving deep into the red autumn wonderland. As you kept moving forward, you were greeted by the greenhouse. Through the transparent glass, you spot a familiar head of brown. You went inside the greenhouse and saw Crow go through each plant and flower, analyzing each delicate leaf and petal. Noticing he's not alone, he turned to where you were and smiled. Oh, there you are, Yinny. What brings you here? I could say the same thing about you. Well, I haven't really explored this place properly before, so why not take a chance? You've never been here. Crow shakes his head. Never got the time to visit. Crow chuckles. You meet his gaze and he gives you a soft smile. His gaze lingered a bit before going around. He then found something that caught his attention. Now this is a pretty looking flora. What do you think it is? He looked at the brush of flowers filled with purple flowers. The petals thin as it showcases its full bloom. This is a passion flower. Fascinating. Tell me more about it. Well, it's a climbing vine plant. Usually its colors are purple or white. Once flowers bloom, passion fruits will bear itself. Usually a volunteer will then come and harvest the fruit. That sounds interesting, Yinny. But that's a scientific way to describe the flower. About its meaning. You tilted your head to the side. What do you mean? How do I say this? He places a hand under his chin. In astrology, each star has a meaning behind it. Same goes with gemstones like your birthstone. Flowers have those as well, correct? Oh. I never really thought about it. Crow gives you a cheeky smile. It's interesting. Passion flowers often symbolize hope and growth. I love seeing the hopeful looks on people. It's so sweet. He's actually just so cute and nice. He does kind of dress like a priest though. He says as he looks at the flowers before you both. Hope, something the city needs. I want to get rid of the hierarchy. Daryl mentioned something about that. Actually everyone did. How come I never heard of it? What is it about? I never got to explain it to you, huh? I guess now's the perfect time since they're quite active in interacting with us in the lower class again. He looks out. A school. Olympias University has 2 buildings with 2 different classes. One is where we are at the moment, the lower class. All around the northern part of the city is where the higher classes are. There, education is 10 times better, the facilities are better, and the students are way out of our league. He hesitates a bit in voicing his thoughts about the students in the higher class. Though I highly doubt that. He added, his eyes narrowed. The lower class. Calling it the lower class is kind of low, in my opinion. I call them villagers and humble people. They're either really kind or either too busy to bother. There was a hint of hesitation in his voice. Well, not all. Failed students in the higher class often end up here with us. And well, they don't really take it well. Which explains the bullying situation. Crow's brows slanted downwards, disgusted by the idea. The fact that he can't do anything is irritating him. How come no one tried to file a report or anything? People tried. I tried. We tried. But unless you have money or a higher reputation, heck even both, then they won't even bother to listen. Crow sighs, which is why some of the students try their hardest to get up the ranks, to be part of the higher class. All of that, just to be respected. Crow didn't say anything to you but a nod. The hierarchy. Crow lets out a sad laugh. The system is kind of a if you feel it, you feel it kind of thing. You don't really feel it, much less see it, unless you've been at its mercy. It's a dog-eat-dog world out there, Yinny. You never know who's the next victim. A soft, sad smile made its way onto his face, which is why I strive to protect you. Oh, both of those sound so... You're left to your thought processes to what Crow told you about the newfound information. This probably explains the bullying and how the school is handled. Your position in the city is just a second priority. Maybe even not even a priority at all. This means if I ever want to help keep my family's farm up, I have to make it up there. Crow nods before continuing. Once you're up there, you'll have a better life. You'll be respected, you'll be rich. People will do as you tell them. And that's messed up. Did people ever protest? Crow, however, did not answer, as if scared that someone would hear him. He remained quiet, only giving you a look that probably says that things did not go well. You refused to ask for more elaboration. That reminds me, Yinny. Crow starts. You never told me how or why you chose this university. Your family owns farms, correct? You bit your lip as you thought of home. We do, but I wouldn't say we're going well. I'm sorry to hear that. It's okay. Really. It's my burden to carry and not yours. And I'm gonna work hard for it. Anything. Do anything. Your heart aches as you stare back into Crow's own azure eyes. Are you alright there, Yinny? You zoned out a bit. If I get to be part of the higher class, then I can have a better chance in life, right? And Crow was surprised at your sudden enthusiasm but nodded regardless. That's right. As you give Crow a reassuring smile, you clench your fist. And then I'll work hard to show this higher class that I am worth their time. Crow chuckles and nods. You know that he's got your back. Then Crow raised his hand and tucks a loose strand behind your ear. You sense him placing something soft and you reach out to touch what felt like petals. Aww, that looks good on you. What is it? Crow then leads you to a nearby pond. You look and see your reflection. On your hair is a red carnation. Oh, I didn't know carnations grew here. Yay, you work here. And Crow only chuckled, fixing the flower in your hair. Then Crow was silent, basking in your presence. His expression then went dim, as if something was bothering him. You took notice, of course. Is something the matter, Crow? He blinks once and twice. He averts his gaze, a bit hesitant to speak up. You grab his hand to reassure him that he's fine. He sighs as he speaks. Your friend. Oh yeah, I remember that he's jealous. My friend. The tall one in green. What are your thoughts on him? Sol, he's nothing more but a classmate. His eyebrows raised. Is that so? Yeah, besides he's my partner for our class, so I'm basically stuck with him until the project's done. I see. Oof, we're on like 2 points now. Oh, I feel bad. Crow nodded. He didn't say anything afterwards, however, his gaze was far, pondering something before shaking it off from his mind. Crow looks around for a while, basking in the various beauties of flora. What do you think a carnation means? You tilt your head, making sure the said flower doesn't fall from your head, as Crow continues with his talk. Passion flower means hope, while carnations mean... Can't seem to remember. What do you think it means? You thought for a while, knowing that carnations are found in bouquets. Well, it has to be something romantic. They're often a perfect gift for a family or a loved one. Is that so? I might have to look up what it means then. Your eyes met his, and for a moment his gaze lingers. Were his eyes always this blue? You never noticed before. The way his lashes fluttered and touched his cheeks when he blinks. His plump lips are always glistening whenever sunlight hits him. His eyes go half-lidded as he leans in closer and closer. And as if in a trance, your eyes slowly start to close. I'm gonna lean in. I want to kiss Crow. As if you lost control of your body and start moving on your own, you lean in closer as well, his eyes now closed, feeling his breath near your own lips as he draws closer and closer. Crow, we better get going before... Man, I'm always so sad whenever she just like blocks you from doing anything here. Of course, Brittany. Your eyes pop open and you quickly back away. Crow backed away as well, as he waved to Brittany. Brittany just raised a brow at the both of you, before shrugging it off and leaving the greenhouse. Crow sighed, seemingly disappointed before giving you his hand for you to take. We should get going. I am also disappointed. He pouted at the moment ruined before accepting his extended hand, and left the greenhouse with Crow. You and the rest of the group got back inside the campus. Everyone already went to their respective classes. I'm gonna head back first. I'll see you in class, Yinny. Aww. Of course. Crow didn't walk away just yet. He stood there for a while, contemplating something before shaking his head and walking away, a tint of red touching the tips of his ears as he walked. Just by the corner of your eye, you spotted 2 familiar-looking individuals. It was Sol and Hyugo. Sol noticed you first and went to you, a noticeable skip in his step. Oh, I missed you. Yinny. Hey, Sol. Hey, Hyugo. Are you both heading to your next class? Hyugo laughed, a hand on his chest as he told him a very funny joke. Actually, I have a better idea. Let's skip class. Skip class? Yeah. It'll be fun. Sol here has been meaning to ask you. Sol gave Hyugo a punch on his rib, making the shorter male choke out the words he was supposed to say as he doubled over and clutched his stomach. Let's ditch. Hyugo just gave him a glare. Sol ignored him as he anticipated your answer. Hanging out with these two sounds fun. but you remember your next class with Crow. Maybe you can... No, I'm sorry, Sol. This is Crow's route, so I can't skip class with you. Please don't kill him again. I'm sorry, I couldn't bear to skip on the second day. Sol didn't say anything, as his shoulders slumped, indicating his obvious disappointment. But there was something else in the dullness of his eyes. You were interrupted by Hyugo, for something else is a murderous feeling. That's alright, Yinny. I promise you'll hang out eventually. On the weekend, I'm sure. Wait, Sol spoke, making you and Hyugo look at him. Can I at least take you to your next class? He asked you, and there was a hint of desperation within his reddish-orange eyes. You didn't see what the problem was, so you agree. Well, I'll see you at the usual, Sol. Hyugo waved to the both of you before walking off. Let's go, shall we? Sol nods as you walk along, Sol following beside you. You and Sol walk through the hallway towards your next class's classroom. You couldn't help but check on Sol. He seems nervous. You look down and see that his hand is shaking. Take his hand. Reaching to his hand, you gently wrapped your hand around his. His hand stopped shaking and he went stiff. Hey, yo! He eventually relaxed and intertwined his fingers with yours. This makes you smile. The walk was silent, but no words needed to be said to see the growing smile on his face. You finally reached the front of your classroom door. You peek inside through the door's window and see Crow at his usual seat already. You turn your attention back to Sol. Just then, your classroom's door opened, and there stood Crow. Oh no! I feel like these two are absolutely gonna fight it out in one of the future chapters. His eyes perked upon seeing you. I mean, I'm assuming something else perked as well. There you are, Yinny. Just in time for the next class too. And just noticed Sol's presence beside you. His eyebrows perked up as he gave the tall student a soft smile. Hello there, Sol. What brings you here? Sol, however, was silent. His gaze dark before responding. Just escorting Yinny. That's really sweet of you to do. There is some serious tension right now. It's like polite smile but hates him. No politeness whatsoever. Openly hates him. Crow didn't seem to mind the mail any longer before returning his attention back to you. You should probably get in. The professor's coming any time now. Oh, right. Thank you again, Sol, for coming with me. You went to your classroom along with Crow, failing to see Sol's ever-darkening gaze as his fists clenched, drawing blood. He stares at the door, moving aside as he leaned on the wall right beside the door. Sol looked down to stare at his palm. His right eye twitched, looking at the broken skin on his hand. The light in his eyes gone. He raised his palm and licked the blood away. Hey, yo, that's a bit freaky. Ichabod, it's always been you. I should have dealt with him years ago. What? You got to your usual seat. Crow takes his usual seat by the window in front of your own, waiting for the classroom to settle down as your professor comes in. Alright, class, settle down. You all better turn in this upcoming paper if you don't want to end up having no grades on your card. And that means your professor slams down his thin notebook, the loud slap echoing throughout the room. You won't be able to graduate, and don't even think about making it up to the higher class with a weak mindset. Now, for today's task, I'd like you all to think of a short story based on any type of literature. Bonus points if you can source out where you got your inspiration along with references. I'll be checking those the most. You hear a few whispers from a few of your classmates as they talk with each other. Unfortunately for them, your professor notices them as he slams his thin notebook again, making some of you jolt from your seat. Now, I can allow you all to head to the library to do your research or stay here and brainstorm. You may begin. Crow stands up from his seat, gathering his things and then turning towards you. I'm gonna go to the library. Would you like to join me? Yes. You give him a nod, earning a smile from him as he makes his way towards the exit. Crow waits for you as you gather your things before leaving the classroom and to the library. Unlike lunchtime, where everyone is free, the library contains only a few students, some either doing their student duties while some doing their own research. Same spot then. You read my mind. Of course, it's one of our favorites. With a smile on his face, he makes his way towards your favorite table near the windows and settles down. Meanwhile, you make your way towards the tall bookshelves. Scanning through each spine of the book, you try to look for something that might catch your interest. Minutes pass, and nothing seems to catch your fancy. You sigh upon realizing this predicament. Giving up, you decide to just pick up the closest book and hope for the best that it's decent enough for your paper. Feeling a thick book, you pull it out and nearly drop it. It's heavy. Me when I finally pick up Sol's wiener for the first time. Regaining your balance, you held onto the thick book properly and finally checked the title of the massive tome, the biography of Marie Antoinette. Your eyebrows raise in mild curiosity. This might actually work. You flip it open, and you're met with a very well-drawn portrait of a very prestigious-looking woman. Flipping through more pages, your eyes land on a drawn figure of the same woman, but with her knelt before a guillotine. Quite a spoiler, but you read through the text below the illustration. The execution. Such a gruesome end, you thought. Deciding to go with this book, you tuck it under your arm for safekeeping. You take a look one last time around the bookshelves, maybe finding something of the same genre. You notice a peculiar book sticking out at the very edge of the bookshelf. It was a bit worn out and dirty. You're kind of wondering how it ended up here. You inch a bit closer to it. The spine didn't have anything on it besides a few worn edges bent and littered with dust. You got on your tiptoes as you reach out to grab the book. However, the moment you grab it and pull it out, the bookshelf starts wobbling, and you immediately stop. I want to keep prying it out. With determination, you held onto the shelf, making sure not to make it wobble any further as you take a firm grip on the worn book. Here, I got it! Boom! The bookshelf wobbles from the force of you pulling the lone book, threatening to push you down, making your heartbeat quicken from the sheer thought of getting crushed under the tall shelves. You quickly held out your arms wide as you tried to rebalance the shelf, hoping it was enough to stop it from shaking. A few books fell there and there, making you wince, but you successfully stabilized the shelf. You let out a breath you hadn't even realized you'd been holding. I hope no one heard that. Anyways, what is this that's so stuck to the damn thing? You flip open the cover, only to see a blank page. No author whatsoever, save for the paper. The edges of it a bit yellow from age. The dust isn't helping either. You went through the few more pages, and there you finally get to see some printed words on it. The various torture devices and executions of the medieval times. How did this end up here in the school library? Then again, I might be able to get some material out of this. You shrug, closing the book, and you tuck it under your arm with the large biography book and left the area, returning to where Crow was settled. Welcome back, Yinny. Have you found anything useful for your paper? It took a while. Nothing caught my eye from the books but this one. You raise the large book and show it to Crow, the queen herself. That's pretty interesting. What kind of paper are you gonna make out of it? I was thinking maybe about how a tyrant royal turned good and was punished regardless of her actions. How's that sound? Crow was silent for a few seconds, making you tilt your head. Maybe he didn't hear you correctly. You okay there, Crow? That actually sounds really nice, Yinny. Can I ask, what's the inspiration? Oh, well, I couldn't stop thinking about our conversation back in the greenhouse, so maybe I could base it off some things there. Is that so? That's very smart of you, Yinny. Why, thank you. Yes, thank you. Praise me more, Crow. You did a little bow, tipping your imaginary hat as you did. Crow chuckles at your silly gesture before you two settle down on your seat. You skim through the book, taking a few notes here and there for important bits that you could use. Feeling your wrist aching a bit, you stop scribbling and stretched out your arms, a few squeaks of satisfaction escaping your lips as you feel the effects of your stretch. Oh, he's so cute. At the corner of your eye, you notice how Crow's eyebrows tend to furrow as he goes through his books. You can feel his legs shaking from the underneath table. The occasional tapping of his pen fills the quiet library. You take a peek at his supposed report paper, expecting a few words written on it, but instead you are met with a blank sheet, devoid of words or even a droplet of ink. You're starting to worry. He seems restless about something. Crow, tap his shoulder. Crow jolts in surprise, his eyes wide open upon the sudden contact. His legs stop shaking as he turns his full attention to you. Yes? Is something the matter, Yinny? Are you alright, Crow? Yes, I'm alright. What makes you say that? You seem stressed. Let me guess. Writer's block. You can say that. Crow lets out a nervous laugh, and then he goes silent, his eyes returning to staring down on his blank sheet of paper. The silence is quite suffocating. Air is now a bit awkward. Your will to write dissipates and was replaced by your concern over the mail beside you. Say, I've got quite a bit of a scenario for you to play along with, Yinny. Crow's previous gloomy attitude was replaced by a playful tone, facing his body towards you with his pen set down, discarding his thoughts from the paper. His sudden change in demeanor catches you by surprise, but he did not spare you a moment to question him as he raises a finger. Imagine yourself living in the same time as the queen, and that you were given the chance to actually befriend her, even though you came from nothing. You often question how you managed to befriend the queen herself. She's been nothing but kind to you, often inviting you to her parties and giving you the fanciest gifts ranging from dresses to jewelries. Now here comes my first question. What do you think of the queen? I see her as a friend. Well, I'd honestly see her as a friend. She clearly sees me as one. Sure, I'd be a bit embarrassed from the amount of gifts she's giving me. If I was in that situation, I'd be thankful, and probably say that her friendship is enough, and no amount of physical goods can measure the gratitude I'm feeling towards her. Crow was silent, a bit awed by your answer. Then a smile broke free on his face, scratching his cheek as his smile grew wider towards you. Such a noble response. Expected from me, Yinny. Now what's that supposed to mean? You pout, crossing your arms in the process, and Crow merely chuckles. Then you can feel his hand brush against yours, squeezing your hand in the process. You swear you can feel your face heating up. Oh, but the scenario isn't over yet. It's not? Nope. Here's the follow-up scenario. He sits up properly, removing his hand on yours as you anticipate his next words. Crow takes a breath, almost contemplating his next words before speaking. What if one day you decide to go out of a palace, wanting to either do groceries or even visit your family? And that is where you see a group of people. They're all mad, each throwing one profanity to another. Upon coming closer, it was all about the queen. You decide to come closer. They're in heated debate, but the loudest one, a farmer, loudly proclaims on how the queen betrayed them. How the queen is nothing but a greedy higher-up using the commoners' hard-working labor for her to throw parties, leaving them starving. When the other side speaks up, a woman saying that the farmer is wrong, and that the queen has been nothing but good to them, providing enough gold and food to keep them afloat. A child came and held onto the woman's leg, confirming her words. If it weren't for the queen, the children wouldn't have homes. They you soon realize that they're a group of nuns, and behind them is an orphanage. A few children peeking through the windows as they try to comprehend what's going on and why they're screaming. Having enough of the fight, you return to the queen's castle. But just when you thought you escaped the circulating argument, you hear a few whispers from nobles across the hallway. The queen is nothing but a fraud. She's nothing but a selfish bitch. She's doing nothing but bringing misery to the people around her. She isn't fit to be a noble. But that's pretty odd, isn't it? They're the same group of nobles who the queen helped and try to stop the war from raging. So why are they talking about her? Is there something you aren't aware of about the queen? Or are they doing it out of pure hatred? He opened his eyes, the light still absent within his blue orbs as he focuses his gaze on your own. He leans a bit back, his form straight and firm. Now, here's where you come in. Which side do you believe in? The queen who has been nothing but kind to you. All the rumors circulating around her being a neglectful noble, a selfish woman, tyrant. He says the word tyrant with so much venom that he spat it out like poison in his teeth. And you thought long and hard on his little You thought long and hard on his little scenario. Multiple thoughts swirling in your head. This all seems so complicated. Take your time. It's fine for you not to respond, just tell me. But I would love to hear your answer, Yinny. I still believe in the queen. You do? I do. Even if the rumors say she's a bad person. Even if she's the cause of so many people suffering under her reign. That's a loophole. It's just baseless rumors. If I want the truth, isn't it better to ask straight from the queen? If she's aware that she's causing people suffering, then I'd rather take it, knowing that she was aware and proceeds to be honest with me rather than lie to me. Oh, he's crying. For a moment, Crow was silent, his hands nestled on his lap. You couldn't see them, but you took notice of the way his shoulders trembled, his eyes gleaming. Is he about to cry? Oh, I didn't mean to. Crow, I'm so sorry. You're too trusting. You know that, Yinny. That could attract potential danger. What? I just did what you told me to do, and that's answering your scenario. His playful demeanor came back, as if he did not just make up the most gut-wrenching scenario known to man. He laughs, holding his chest as he wipes a stray tear away from the corner of his eye. What was the sudden scenario question for anyway? I just thought it'd be a good idea for my paper. Am I right? You have to admit, it was a good idea, and can probably entertain your teacher for quite a bit. I can't believe you let me go through that brain exercise just for this silly paper of ours. Well, better get to writing, Yinny. We're almost running out of time. What? How about you? Your paper's still blank. If I could make up that silly scenario, then I can absolutely make another one up on a whim. Plus, your response is enough to fill in my little writer's block, so I'd like to thank you for helping me. You're so good when it comes to writing stories, Crow. You should be a writer. I'll think about your suggestion. Stretching out your arms, letting out a sigh of relief, you look at your paper that you made as you skim through it one last time. You're too caught up in the conversation with Crow. You nearly forgot about the worn book you brought along. You pick it up and start flipping through the pages. Torture devices. Execution devices. Why are you reading this again? Oh, wait. I have not seen this before. But it suspiciously kinda looks a lot like Sol. You turn to another page, and on it is a white sketch of a tall and bulky man. Half of his face covered by his hood, while a large axe is settled behind him. I'll be honest, this guy's kinda pretty. His arms are filled with scars, while around his neck is a chain collar. It looks like those killers you often see in slasher films. Underneath the illustration, it read, Executioner. Some executioners were feared by the public, while the rest respected them. But mostly, people shunned them for their field of work. The old times sure were brutal, you mutter under your breath. Closing the book, you then stack it on top of the other books that you and Crow borrowed. Handing out your paper to Crow, he gladly accepts it and stacks it on top with his own paper. Shall we head back? You nod before you finish stacking the books you borrowed for the librarian or her assistants to get. I can't wait for the day to end. Same here. Crow chuckles as you and him leave the library. The day eventually came to an end. A few rays of the sunset light shine through the hallways as you and Crow walk towards the hallway. Do you have anything else to do today, Yinny? Well, I have to do some quick grocery shopping before I go home. Ah, well, in that case, would you mind me accompanying you? Really? It's fine if you don't have any other things to do. Like, look for Brittany and the others? Not really. Besides, Daryl has after-class practice, same with Gio. As for Brittany and Jess, they're catching up on their business proposal. But don't you also need to catch up? I can do them tomorrow. I'd like to spend the rest of my day with you, Yinny. Your voice got caught up in your throat and you felt your face heating up. Stupid Crow's stupid feelings? Alright then. Crow let out a small cheer. Kinda like a mini jump from the game with an Italian plumber. It made you giggle a bit, without wasting much time. You and Crow head out of the school campus. The sun slowly sets on the horizon. After you and Crow finish up buying some groceries, Crow offered to carry your bags and walk you home all the way back to your apartment just like the day before. We should do this every day. But don't you live on the other side of the city? Nothing's wrong with that. Because my place isn't far from the school anyway. So walking to your apartment and back is nothing to me. And don't tell me you're the kind of person who travel from one city to another while saying it's walkable. Crow laughs, shrugging his shoulders as if saying, maybe. I love walking, especially during the night. And most especially when the stars are out. I kind of agree with that. You stare at him up and down, your eyes often lingering on his hand. The temptation of holding it up was gnawing at you, making you fidgety. This doesn't come unnoticed by Crow, as he gradually slowed down until he came to a stop, setting down the groceries. You stop as well, raising a brow in concern as he looked at you with keen eyes. Do you feel cold? No, what makes you think that? Without much of a warning, he takes both of your cold hands, cupping them in between his large ones, and begins to blow on them. Aww! His warm breath easing your cold fingertips. Your hands are now warm, and they couldn't compare to the heat of your face, reaching to the tips of your ears. You kept shivering, so I thought I could warm you up a bit. I mean, I'm sure there are other ways for you to warm me up as well, Crow. I'm sorry I don't have a jacket, and I doubt my vest could do much to help. I mean, you could just hold me. It's alright, Crow, you don't need to. Your face is all red. Are you cold? Do you want to hold my hand during our walk? Aww, he's so sweet. Let him hold you, yes. You hang your head down, too flustered to utter a single word. Your request got caught in your throat as your shyness overwhelmed you. Rather, you stare at Crow's large hand wrapped around yours. Oh my god. Not pulling away nor protesting against it. Crow notices your averted gaze, your shy demeanor causing his lips to quirk up in a gentle smile. He almost chuckled when he realized how your eyes fixated on your joined hands. Freeing his right hand, Crow picks the groceries back up. His left hand closed around yours, holding it firmly but gently. You swear he gave you a little squeeze as he tugs you along, continuing with your walk. Somewhere nearby, Sol is in the bushes staring at us and glaring. That's odd. Something the matter. I kind of feel something dripping on me. Oh crap. What seemed to be a soft drizzle suddenly turned into a wild downpour. You and Crow make a run for it, trying your best to keep yourselves dry as Crow shields your groceries from getting wet. Thankfully, the side of your apartment complex came into view from a few feet away. A relieved sigh escapes past your lips. You turn to Crow, who was doing about everything he could to keep your bag dry, not even caring about the droplets of rain rolling down his cheek and his damp hair that clung to his face. I bet he looks very nice. Just a few more steps, Crow. We're almost there. You ran up the road, hearing Crow's heavy footsteps following behind you. All of a sudden, Crow stopped. His head turned to the bushes, his eyes growing wide as he opened his mouth in a near gasp. What's wrong? One sec. Let's get these groceries and you to recover. Huh? Crow hastily shoves your semi-damp plastic bag towards you, your arms suddenly carrying the weight of your groceries. You blink a few times in confusion. Crow, what? Whoa! Without much warning, Crow lifts you off the ground. Oh my god. With one of his arms wrapped around your shoulders and the other under your knees, he hoists you up. Oh my! The shock from your feet leaving the pavement floor caused you to shriek as you clung around Crow's neck, feeling his damp body press against your... Oh god. Jericho! What on earth? You know he's in trouble when he gets called his full first name. Crow runs up to your apartment, carrying you like your weight meant nothing in his arms. He seems distracted, your protest going unheard. Once he makes it to your doorstep, he sets you down before turning around and running back the way he came. Inside the apartment, I'll be right back. You grip your grocery bag tight as you stare at his figure, your heart drumming quite loudly within your chest. Do you just pick me up and carry me all the way to my apartment that easily? He barely even grunted. For someone so lean, you never expect him to actually lift you like a sack of feathers. You start wondering if he works out. Oh, I hope so. You should let us see. You're too dazed, head afloat from what just occurred, to realize that Crow finally came back. You gasped as you took in his entire body, now awfully drenched from head to toe, hair dripping with water. His shoes sloshed as he walked, and his wet clothes clung to his skin. Oh my. You notice his vest missing, and then you spot it in his arms wrapped around something. Aww. A sound came from the bundle that he carried in his arms, causing you to snap out of your thoughts. Did I just hear his vest meow? Let's get inside before we get any colder. Once you and Crow made it inside your apartment, the first thing you did was to grab 3 different towels. One for you, one for Crow, and one for your new little friend. I couldn't bear to leave him in the cold rain. Poor guy must have got abandoned by its mother. Aww, that's okay, Crow. He is our son now. Oh my god. Wrapped in the small towel is a tiny black kitten. You know, we should be thankful that my landlord wasn't at his usual desk, right? Pets aren't allowed here. Other than that, Crow paused a bit, understanding where you're coming from. A low chuckle left his lips, scratching his wet cheek. He probably won't appreciate the puddle we made on his doorstep. Precisely. You both let out a small awkward laugh, hoping that you wouldn't get caught the following day by the cameras around. Shoving the thought aside, both you and Crow stare at the kitten, now wrapped within the towel, its beady eyes seemingly staring at both of you before breaking into mews and meows. You can feel your heart melt, and so did Crow. I'll take care of this little guy for now. You should probably dry up, Crow. Is this okay? I didn't expect to actually end up staying at your place. I won't be long though. You can stay as long as you want. You can stay forever. I'll get out of your hair as soon as I dry up. It's so hard to choose between Crow and Sol though, because I don't know, I like them both. They both have like their good points and stuff, and they're both so different. I honestly don't mind you staying a bit longer. It's not a problem. I don't want you to catch a cold because of me. Well, we'll take turns then. After I dry up, I'll take care of the kitten next. Let me get you something to change. There really is no need to. Not giving him a chance to protest, you quickly head out to your bedroom. Rummaging through your drawers, you try to find something that could fit Crow, and you remember the oversized shirt you received during last sports day. You never understood why everyone needed to buy that shirt, but when you got yours they ran out of your own size and you had no choice but to accept the shirt that was one size bigger than yours. Taking it out of the drawer, you made your way back. You head back to the living room, seeing Crow, who remains still in his spot. His shirt had partially dried and he had taken the kitten into his arms. The little creature was snugly wrapped in its warm blanket, reminding you of a burrito. The sight of Crow gently holding the kitten pierced a soft spot in your heart. The view was to die for, and you would have spent a few more seconds admiring it had you not noticed Crow's shoulders shaking from the cold. You're shivering. Nothing I can't handle. Lies? The cat is doing a better job at getting warm than you. You teasingly roll your eyes at Crow as he shoved the shirt and another fresh towel in his direction. He chuckles, forced to give up the kitten to you as he accepts the change of clothes. Carrying the kitten in your arms, you lead Crow to your bathroom and he thanks you before stepping in and closing the door behind him. Hearing the tweak on the valve and the familiar sound of the shower running, Crow's naked. You remember how Crow shivered all the way to the bathroom. You turn your heater up a bit before settling back down on the couch. You return your attention to the kitten. Its fur now dried thanks to you and Crow. The small feline looks up at you and meows, its beady little eyes staring up at yours. You put a finger on its head, petting it gently. Aww. You must be hungry, little guy. You're lucky I went out grocery shopping today. Scooping the tiny kitten into your arms, you make your way to the kitchen. Send the kitchen down the bowl, you rummage through your fridge and cupboards for a clean bowl. You pick up your grocery bag from the floor, placing it on the kitchen table as you look for the almond milk you remember getting. Heating the milk just warm enough, you observe the kitten as it breaks free from its warm confinement and looks around. The cat shivering in fear and caution of the unknown territory, yet remaining curious enough to look around. Setting the warm bowl of milk in front of the cat, you grab a chair, patiently waiting as it creeps closer to the bowl. It takes one lap of the milk, then another, and one more before it happily drinks it up. A familiar smile makes its way to your face. Oh my god. Crow, you should really have your hair down more often. You look very pretty. Seems you got yourself all settled in. You hear Crow's slightly amused voice and you turn around to face him. You momentarily stop at the sight of him standing there, wearing the fresh shirt you handed him with a towel around his neck. It's so domestic. I'm so happy right now. Now out of its usual braids, his hair was let loose, a few droplets dripping from the semi-dry strands. Thank you for letting me use your bathroom, Yandere. You don't mind me hanging my vest, right? I don't mind. In fact, I can just hand your stuff to you tomorrow if you'd like. Crow didn't answer you as he pointed his gaze downwards, dipping his head in an attempt to conceal the slight tint of pink brushing along his cheeks. He rubs his arm, a hint of embarrassment in his voice. Sorry, I didn't think I would end up staying here for a bit, but I'm thankful either way. Also, isn't this the first time I've been to your apartment? You got a nice place. Oh, crap, he's actually right. You never really got any visitors save for your father and landlord. Other than that, you never had anyone in here until now. And it's Crow too. Just you two. Alone. Potentially maybe with no pants on later? I'm probably talking too much. You should get changed too. Crow's voice snaps you out of your thoughts and you look up and realize he already picked up the kitten from the counter. Crow holds it in his arms, the feline faintly purring as it snuggles close to his chest, relishing in his warmth. Never thought you'd see the day you'd be jealous over a cat, but here we are. Getting up from your chair, you accompany Crow back to the living room before going to change as well. The sound of the shower head running fills your ears as you look down to your bathroom's white tiles, observing the water run down towards the sinkhole. The water's heater helped to warm you up a bit, but you couldn't help the thoughts running through your mind. Thoughts that were mostly consumed by Crow and the cat. Who was gonna keep it? Why did he save it? And more importantly, how long is he planning to stay here? Forever? You look up and see his soaked vest and polo hanging on one of the bathroom railings. You should probably throw that in the dryer along with yours after. You let out a sigh, not wanting to waste any more water and probably spend the next 30 minutes contemplating your life in the shower. You get out, dry yourself, and get dressed. You return to the living room, finding that Crow had made himself comfortable on your couch with the cat happily settled in his lap as he gives it a few pats. Sensing your presence, Crow lifts his head and his eyes perk upon landing on your figure. Oh, he's so cute. Oh my gosh, he's so pretty with his hair down. Look at the tiny cat on his lap as well. Welcome back. The cat's starting to relax. It's almost as if it belongs in this place. He chuckles, and you make your way to him and you sink into the couch right by his side. You gaze at the cat curled up in his lap, purring away in content, and you bite your bottom lip. Cat 2, Yandere 0. Have you thought of a name yet? Actually, no. I'm never good with names. How about you? Have you thought of a name for it? He tilts his head to the side, awaiting your answer to his inquiry. We shall name it Baldurs. Crow smiles, his lips turn slightly upwards. He picks up the cat, and your little furry friend looks at him, then to you, and finally to its surroundings before it decided it had enough of Crow suspending it midair. It wriggled, protesting for Crow to put it back down. I think Puddles is a wonderful name, Yandere. I knew I could count on you for naming it. Anyway, do you want something to eat? I can heat up some Hot Pockets we bought. That'll be wonderful. The sun had set beyond the horizon hours ago, and you could see the sky painted black from your window. With the rain still pouring just as hard as before, Crow decides to stay a little bit longer to enjoy your company. Crow, you might as well just stay the night, honestly. I mean, it's already late. It's raining still. The kitten sleeps soundly on a nearby makeshift bed that you made together with Crow. You sit beside him on the couch, the living room dimly lit with nothing but the television running with what seems to be like a slasher film. Okay, hear me out. Why did they have to make the serial killer so hot in this movie? Excuse me? I mean, look at him. He's clearly a pretty boy with that blonde hair and charming smile. But that makes sense, right? Especially with the killer in this movie. Cunning and charming, he's a good manipulator, having to entice people so that he can kill them in the end. Throws the detectives off, right? I guess that makes sense. They did a good job casting whoever the killer is. He's pretty good. You know the actor? No? How about you? Surprised you don't know him. He's one of the best multi-talented idol in Titus City. Wood. That guy's actually kinda hot. You cast your eyes back to the screen and you're greeted by the serial killer's actor. Golden hair dyed with pink tips, rose pink eyes that shone brightly, and a smile that was so alluring and magnetic it was hard for you to tear your gaze away. He almost looks like an actual angel. He's known as Aries. Besides being an actor, he's also a singer and a model. I wonder if we'll ever get to meet him. Wow, sounds like a big shot. He's also Jess's favorite actor. Did you know? Jess owns the biggest fan page for this guy and has been recognized by him and many fans. Really? That's quite an achievement. I agree. With a face card like that, how could anyone not fall for him? Don't tell me he's your type. Nonsense. No, yeah, sure he's handsome, but he's not really my type. For a second, Crow's eyes flickered with hope before disappearing. Instead, a smile is plastered on his face. That's good. Nothing. The room fell silent afterwards, with neither of you uttering a word. As the television becomes a background noise, you unconsciously fiddle with your fingers. You found it difficult to focus on the movie as you start feeling conscious of the male beside you. From your peripheral vision, you try to discreetly check up on Crow, only to realize that this whole attention was already on you, and your heartbeat races. So, Crow, you wanna do it? Hey, Yiddy, if given the chance, if you could have anything in the world, what would it be? Another one of your little trivia questions, Crow. You laugh lightheartedly, attempting to ease the atmosphere. Your Crow did not seem to be on board, and so you shut yourself up quickly. He has a lot of CGs. You bit your lip as you felt Crow leaning in close to your face, his breath brushing against your cheek. The movie becomes a muffled and incoherent noise as the rapid beating of your heart floods your eardrums. Why didn't you answer first? He chuckles lowly, sending a shiver down your spine. Crow surprises you when he rests his head on your shoulders, the intimate gesture making your heart stop. Before you could say anything, he buries his face into the crook of your neck, making you freeze. Hey, yo! You prayed he wouldn't hear just how loudly your heart is beating. Dodging the question this time, huh? Well, if I were to have anything in the world, I'd love to have more time. More time to be with you. Oh my god, that's so sweet. Crow is actually so freaking cute. More time to spend with you. Kinda selfish of me, huh? At this point, you aren't sure if he's talking to you or with himself. You glance at Crow from the corner of your eye, noticing his downcast gaze. He smiles to himself, but all you can see was that desperate expression he failed to suppress. You did not dare ask what was wrong. At a loss for words, you chose to remain silent. You stayed in that position with Crow for what felt like a minute, the hurt on his beautiful face replaying in your head. You swallow and lift a hand, gently placing it in the back of his head. You relax when you felt Crow ease up on your touch. Taking that as a sign, you proceed to stroke his hair, brushing along his now soft and dry locks between your fingers. I should probably get going. Already? He pulls away and looks at you straight in the eyes. Multiple swirls of emotions fill his dull orbs. Drowsiness, uncertainty, longing. With one last exhale, Crow finally gets off of you and stands up, a few groans escaping his lips as he stretches his limbs. With his hands on his hips, he gives you a smile. You couldn't shake off the feeling that it was done just to reassure you. Aww, I love him in this shirt. He's so cute, with his hair down as well. Oh my gosh, the rain is slowing down a bit. Plus, it's really getting quite late. I haven't contacted my relatives yet, so they might really be worried now. Are you sure you don't want to stay the night? You want to say it so bad. You really want to, but you couldn't. You shouldn't. You clench the fabric of your shirt above where your painfully beating heart lies. You're probably right. Let me get your clothes from the dryer. I'll see you out. Thank you, Yiddy. You're the best of the best. Aw, are you sure you'll be fine, Crow? I already called my driver. I'll probably get an earful from him, but that's alright. They're probably gonna question me about puddles, but I'll think of an excuse. I'm sorry I couldn't keep him with me, Crow. No, it's alright. In fact, I already know who would be the perfect cat owner for them. With the kitten cradled in his arms, Crow did a mock-up face of a grumpy person, exaggerating his expression, with his cheeks puffed and shoulders raised. You can only make a wild guess on the mysterious identity. It's a shame that your apartment had a no-pets policy, and the fact that you know absolutely no one who could take care of the kitten. After talking it out with Crow, he decided to take the kitten with him. Thankfully, he had a few spare boxes lying around, and you gave one for Crow to place the kitten in. Today's been fun, Crow. His brow raised in mild surprise and a soft smile painted his features. With his dominant hand, he ruffles the top of your head, messing your hair for a bit, earning him a chuckle. Hey now, I had fun too, Yiddy. See you tomorrow? Yeah, See you tomorrow. Oh, oh my gosh, he's so tender and like sweet and cute. I love him. You move close to the door, but stopped by the sudden sensation of something soft landing on your head. Your eyes travel up, realizing that Crow had just given you a tender kiss near your brow. While your face heats up, your brain short-circuited at the feeling of his soft lips lingering on your skin. Good night, Yinny. He gives you a casual wave, Baldurs peeking out of his box to give you one last look as if bidding you goodbye before you finally close your door. That tease! Wait, what's going on? I've never seen Crow look so angry. She's finally back, huh? Come on, Baldurs. Let's go home. To be continued. And that was Crow's route for the kid at the back. Okay, one more thing to do. We are gonna check out what happens when we go to the movie instead. Hyugo gives you a bright smile. Heck yeah, I knew you were a trooper, Yinny. Come, let's go grab some tickets and snacks. Do you want popcorn? Or something else? The shorter male went along towards the movie theater with you coming along, following up behind him. Sol clicked his tongue and shoved his hands in his pants pocket as he followed along behind you. Hyugo took notice of this and raised a brow. Oh, are you interested in the movie, sonny boy? Maybe you're right. It does look interesting. Stop making excuses, you just wanna— let's go. Sol takes hold of your wrist and drags you away from Hyugo in the movie theater. What? Hey, come back here, I'm talking to you. Sol went ahead to the counter and brought tickets for the three of you. Sol turned around and gave one ticket to you. Your fingers brushed with his, causing him to blush. Finally catching up to you two, Hyugo pouted as he crossed his arms, looking at Sol. I thought the tickets were on you, Hyugo. It is, but I guess it's on Sol now. Not that I'm complaining or anything, but this is supposed to be my treat. Oh well, the food's still on me. Wait right here. Hyugo scurried off to the food booth, leaving you and Sol one last time. You walked towards the now showing pictures, examining the poster. Sherlock Holmes, huh? Hyugo's into detective movies? He turned to ask Sol and he places a hand on his hip as he checks the poster next to you. You can say that he aspires to be one. That's quite charming of him, and Sherlock Holmes is his inspiration? It's just one of them. I see. How about you, Sol? What's your favorite genre? Sol raised his brows at you, and he places a finger at his chin as he looked up, staring at the ceiling. I like supernatural horror and thriller, along with the tales of the Headless Horseman or those original fairy tales by the Grimm brothers. Those all sound so gruesome, I bet you feel weirded out by it. What do you mean? I actually enjoy those as well. Really now? Of course I do. I think they're very interesting and I love the thrill that they give. Sol stares at you in awe before a smile breaks out in his face. Then maybe we could watch one together. I'm back! Hyugo's familiar voice was heard. You turn around and saw him walking towards the both of you, two large bags with the popcorn on each arm and a large cup being held. Oh, let me, he said, taking one bag from Hyugo's arm, and he thanks you for the help. I've got the snacks. Hope you like popcorn, Yinny. He then turns to Sol. Come on, let's get in before the movie starts. Sol nods as you and Hyugo follow him towards the entrance of the movie theater. He hands out the 3 tickets and then the 3 of you enter. This piece wants you to believe it's the ultimate evidence for this case when in fact, you're halfway through the movie, the bag of popcorn halfway finished. He looked at the blue-haired male on your left as his gaze transfixed on the large screen before you. Hyugo, during the beginning of the film, was really giddy, but now he was silent, seemingly engrossed with the scene of what was happening in the movie. His hand goes on autopilot as he munches on each bite of popcorn. To your right, Sol, surprisingly, was also too engrossed with the movie before him. You need to pee. You've been holding it for a while now, since you don't want to miss out on the important scenes. But Mother Nature is knocking so hard on your door right now. He taps Sol's shoulder and he turns his attention to you. You need something? I need to go to the comfort room. Would you like me to accompany you? No, it's fine. Just enjoy the movie. Sol gives you a nod and you took it as a signal to stand up from your seat. Ducking down, you make sure not to block the screen for viewers at the back as you speed walk towards the movie theater's comfort room. Jeez, and it was getting really interesting too. I probably just asked Hyugo what happened while I was gone. Well, time to head back. The forceful opening of the door startled you. A few grunts were heard and the shuffling of feet as if there was a struggle. You went quiet. You best speak the heck up or else. I don't know what you're talking about. How many times do I have to tell you? Oh shit. Your eyes widened as your breathing stopped. You quietly but quickly went to the nearest toilet stall. What's going on? Right? In the cinema, out of all places. Whatever is going by the door is clearly something you don't want to get involved with. Just tell us who is the traitor that you're in cahoots with, and I'll let you on. Again, I have no idea what you're talking about. Guess I have no choice. Oh my god! You hear the sound of the light bulb being popped along with a portion of the comfort room's light going dim. Only half of the room is now lit up. Please! I don't know, I swear! I'm giving you one last chance, buddy. A little shuffling was heard. A rough voice seemed to whisper something that you cannot hear. Then you hear breathing as it gets shorter and heavier. He's here! I swear, just look around, you're bound to find him here! Please don't kill me! Maybe the gun's too merciful. No! Your nose caught something. It stings as it fills the air, the edges of your eyes watering. You then feel something wet hitting the tip of your shoes. You look down and your eyes widen. Oh, blood! No! Someone just got killed, and the body is right in front of your stall. Is someone else here? Shit, did he hear me? Well, well, well. Seems like we have a lost lamb on our shoulders. Then you hear the stall 1 block away from you being roughly opened. Not here. Come on, little lamb. Don't try to hide. Shit. I need to do something. You quickly look around, trying to find a way to escape, but there's nothing but a small rectangular window just above the toilet. You can try to pry it open and call out for help. What happens if I let the timer run out, though? I feel like I'm getting closer to you. He's about to open my stall. What should I do? All you could do is stay quiet and hold your breath as you close your eyes. Please, please, please. The door to your store slowly opened. You can feel the intimidating presence of the man. I don't want to die. There you are. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. Oh, then you feel a hand coming to touch your hair. You flinch. You slowly back away, your legs shaking as you still refuse to open your eyes, your arms wrapped around you. Yinny, it's okay. And you hear that all too familiar voice. I'm here. It's alright. Oh my god, that is a lot of blood. Before you was Sol. Right behind him was Hyugo. Both of their expressions filled with worry. Like how Hyugo just kind of like slid out from behind. But your focus was on the splattered blood across the walls. Hyugo notices this and tries his best in blocking the view. Sol's hand then went up to reach out to you, but he stopped midway, afraid as if he'll burn you. Without even thinking, you quickly wrapped your arms around Sol, your shoulders shaking as you buried your face to his chest. Sol took this as a sign and gently wrapped his big arms around you, a hand coming to caress your hair, trying to comfort you as you shook in his hold. Can we go out, please? Without much of a word, Sol escorted you out from the scene before you, his hold tight and secure around your shoulders. Gives Hyugo a look and the shorter male just sighs, waving his friend away with a fanning motion. I'll take care of it. You and Sol left. Hyugo lets out an irritated tisk as he looks down at the two bodies on the ground. A pain in the ass. The sky is now dark, indicating it's near night. You finally got out of the movie. You looked down and stared at your shoes, noticing a few splatters of blood. You gripped Sol's arm. He took notice and looked at your shoes. Seeing the blood, he knelt down on one knee and took out his handkerchief. No, it's alright. Doubt it. He wiped the blood off your shoes before folding his handkerchief and shoving it deep into his pocket. He looks at your disheveled look. Let me ask you again. Are you alright, Yinny? I'm not. How and why? You asked no one. A terrifying experience kept repeating in your mind. Sol broke your trail of thought by placing his large hand on top of your head. You looked up at him and he gave you a soft, reassuring smile. His hand now off of your head. Don't think about it anymore. What matters is that you're here with me. You look around you and notice that Hyugo wasn't around. Where's Hyugo? He's got it covered. You don't need to worry about him. I might walk you home, you know, to keep you safe. I'll keep you company. I'll keep you safe. You trust me. I trust you. Now let me take care of you. Sol gently takes a hold of your hand and wraps it around his larger one. His gaze never leaving yours, a bright smile on his face. Lead the way then. You felt safe. Safe with someone. Safe with Sol. The walk back to your apartment was quiet, save for a few nightly bugs making a few hums here and there. Sol's hand is still tightly wrapped around yours. He's warm. You couldn't help but steal a few glances at Sol and he looks back at you. He said nothing, but the more he stared at you, the more longing his eyes were giving. Aww, he's so cute. He gives you another one of his bright smiles. He squeezes your hand and you squeeze back, making him chuckle. What is it? Nothing. Your hands feel cold. Let me fix that. Oh? He hummed as he raised the hand that he's holding. Aww. There, now it feels warmer. You are so cute. He teased, a blush of his own appearing on his face. That's not how you warm hands up. Is that so? I'd love to see how you would do it. Sol! He just laughed at you, his face still red as he playfully hit his side. Eventually, your walk came to an end and you're met with the front door of your apartment. You let go of the hand Sol was holding. He nearly reached out to keep a hold, but he stopped himself, and you turned to face him. Well, this is my place. I'll see you tomorrow then? Of course. But we don't have classes together tomorrow though. That's alright. Maybe we can hang out after classes to continue on the project? I'll keep your word for it then. You turn to face your apartment's front door, taking out your keys and finding the one that you need. But before you inserted the key to the apartment, you turn your head to look at Sol's tall figure unmoving from his position. Thank you for today. I really owe you one. He paused and his shoulders relaxed. Don't worry about it. Just know you can count on me. Unlocking your front door, you fully turn around to give Sol one last wave with a smile on your face. He returned his own smile before walking off to the exit. You entered your apartment. The lights dim as you groaned, searching for the light switch. Much better. You nod in approval before heading to your kitchen. You open your fridge and started rummaging around for something to eat. I forgot to do my groceries. You let out an irritated sigh, seeing that there's nothing good besides the leftovers from yesterday's dinner. You shrugged, decided to heat this one up after you set your end things down. You really don't feel like cooking or ordering either. Sighing one last time, you closed the door to your fridge as you made your way to your room. You placed your school bag near your desk as you take your seat, skimming through the notes you've taken for the day as you wrote down your much-needed notes. You click your tongue as you tap your blank notebook with the tip of your pen, going on with your silent staring contest with the blank paper before you, and you let out a groan. Deciding to do work later, you closed your notebook and stood up. You turned to your window, noticing it being slightly ajar. That's weird. I thought I closed that. You went near it to close it shut, but was met with a now broken lock. You curse. I thought I already replaced this 2 days ago. Maybe I shouldn't buy my locks online. You let out a groan as you left it alone and went out of your room and into your living room. Your TV blared as you munched on some leftovers you got from the fridge. A movie currently playing as you kept your eyes on the protagonist. If you recall correctly, It's one of those films Jess keeps talking about, starring her favorite lead actor. You kinda get what she was gushing about. The lead does look attractive. Blonde wavy hair with sharp eyes, with eyes as pink as fuchsia. And you still can't remember the actor's name. You took out your phone. And as you start to search up the name of the actor, when it suddenly changed, and instead of a blonde actor on the screen, a report comes instead with a banner below. Another missing person case. Your heart drops before you turn off the TV. The incident back in the cinema replaying in your mind. You quickly turn off your TV as you make your way to the kitchen, hoping to take your mind off things. You open your fridge, feeling the cold air hitting your face as you rummage through, taking out a pitcher of orange juice. You take a glass from your cupboard as you pour the juice to the last drop and take a sip. You check the clock on the wall. 9:30 p.m. That late already, huh? You check your front door and windows, seeing everything locked before grabbing your glass and finishing the last drops of the orange juice before heading back to your bedroom. Now dressed in your nightwear, you let out one last stretch, a yawn escaping from your mouth. Getting in your bed sheets, you laid in comfort. Today was a lot, you thought. Another yawn escaped your lips. You must be really tired, you thought. Your eyes were going half-lidded. And eventually, sleep took over, and the soul snuck in and put something in the orange juice like a day ago. The moon was high up in the sky. The night is quiet, save for a few honks from late-night cars. But all of that is not enough to wake the sleeping residents. Still broken, huh? You should be careful, Pumpkin. Clad in all black with a mask of the same color adorning his face, he slowly makes his way next to the sleeping figure. His reddish eyes bright, filled with adoring love. He reached out and stroked a finger against his beloved's cheek. Look at my sleepy sweetheart. Makes me wonder who supplies Hyugo those sleeping pills. Yeah, wait, no! Man, I can't drink my orange juice anymore. He lets out a low chuckle as he leans closer to Yinny. Pulling down his mask, he leans forward, checking her face before continuing. He buries his face into the dip of her shoulders as he leaves a peck. He takes a deep inhale. He shakes as if he took a whiff of a dangerous and addictive drug. His eyes bright as he examines every feature of his soulmate's face as he gives her cheek a kiss. You smell so good. Pardon me. Oh, okay, this is the upcoming not safe for work scene, so we are gonna have to skip past this one. Tucking a loose strand away from her face, he gives her a kiss on the forehead before landing another one on the corner of Yinny's lip. A shiver ran down his spine at the contact. Not good, and as much as he would like to stay a bit longer, his time is due. He backs away as he covers his face once more with his face mask and walks towards the ajar window, turning back one last time. Sorry about your window, Pumpkin. I'll make it up to you someday. He carefully opens the window again, and with that he's gone. Sol, you could have just asked. I would have said yes. You really caused me some trouble today. So it is you, traitor. What? My gun. I can never get over Hyugo just like being so happy-go-lucky one moment, and then being so scary in the next moment. Who would have thought? Our sweet doggy is biting their master's hand. They're not gonna lie. We should have seen this coming. You're talking too much. You haven't even fired a gun since ages ago. What makes you think that you... Well, shit. They're slowly figuring me out. I don't think I could make it for the next few days. Sonny, you've done enough for me. I think this is the end of our deal. To be continued. We did it! That was the end of the Kitt at the Back rewritten day 2. I hope you guys enjoyed this as much as I did. I loved all the new crow scenes, and I do really like the scene where Sol gets to walk you home, but massive trigger warning for that scene. I think the rewrite definitely leans into a darker and more like true Yandere experience, because we did see him kill Crow. Kind of interested to see where it goes and where it's actually going to lead. So obviously, once again, I'm going to urge anyone who actually plays this for themselves and sees the not safe for work scenes to be very careful, and to make sure you pay attention to the trigger warnings just to make sure that you are safe. But yeah, I do really appreciate the rewrite, honestly. I like the tone that it sets. I really like how they flesh out more of the characters, especially Hyugo and Crow. I think with this update, Crow probably got the biggest amount of new scenes, which helped establish his character a lot more. And I do like how he's pretty much a direct character foil to Sol. I think I mentioned this in the last video as well. But thank you so much for watching and supporting me. If you guys do want to see the spicy scenes, they are up on my Patreon. I have also added trigger warnings in those as well, because I really do want you guys to be safe when seeing shocking material like that. So make sure you guys are a-okay before proceeding. But thank you again for supporting me and for watching this video all the way till the end. And until next time, take care.